Let's get nasty on a Wednesday. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. Jamie's back from the road.
Yeah, baby. I'm glad you said Wednesday. Because I had no idea what day it was.
Yeah, well, I was off yesterday, as you guys know. Thank you to BT for filling in. Thank you to Katie Wu from The Athletic for filling in. I was hanging out with the little guy, Lincoln, and I was listening to you guys.
I was on there too, you know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Nothing?
Well, it's your show.
Still.
It's like a parent saying, hey, babysit the kid. You didn't babysit your kid. That's your kid. You don't babysit them.
Sure you do.
No, Jamie. No, that's not how it works.
What?
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm supposed to do that stuff for free?
Yeah, basically. You're the father, Jamie. So
well.
You were babysitting.
It's either you or
You were babysitting
Shara.
yesterday.
That's right.
No, I wasn't babysitting. It's my kid.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Anyways. Okay, Jamie. Enough of that. By the way, did you like the photo I sent you guys of Killian on
Yeah, that
over
was
the
incredible.
Weekend? We did the lights outside, and
all right.
the kids were helping out a lot. And at one point, Killian, it was just Killian and I was, kind of wrapping things up. I looked up there, and we have a little hill on top of the in the backyard. I look up, and there's my man, just doing his thing into the wind.
Yep.
Pants on the ground.
There's a field back there, so he just decided I'm not going inside. I captured the moment. It's perfect.
It was great.
Sent it to Jamie and Marsh, and I said, Jamie, here's your spirit animal right there.
He is my spirit animal.
He's a funny dude.
Hey, at what age is it not appropriate anymore to pull your pants down all the way to pee?
Well,
Yeah.
you got to be careful where you do that, too.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say grade school. Once you get out of grade school, I think
I think once you start to get some turf on the field, you should probably not be doing that.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Like up until that point, it's still like, oh, it's a kid.
It's a kid.
And then you look over and it's like, that ain't a kid.
Yeah.
Nope.
That ain't a kid.
Nope.
Grooming would help.
Oh, Jamie. Anyways, there's no easy transition here. The Blues lost last night to the Minnesota Wild.
It's not funny.
It's not.
It's funny.
Not the way they lost. Jamie, watching that game, I'm like, this could be worse. It could be better. It's what
Both
it is.
statements could be true.
I mean, the first period, you had opportunities. You hit the crossbar on one.
Yeah.
You had a couple of open looks.
Yeah.
Could have had the lead after the first period. You also, in the second period, gave up some pretty blank shots there that either Binnington saved or Krug saved for you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Blues, in some respects, got what they deserve when it comes to the defensive effort last night.
So I don't necessarily think it's the defensive effort. I would say it's more the offensive effort.
Last night, specifically?
Correct.
Okay.
There was not enough time.
Do tell.
Well, in the first period was fine. And I was okay with the first. Like, you expect a push from the Wild. They got the new head coach, and everybody's on their best behavior, and all that stuff. But you get to the second period, and you literally almost had no offensive time of possession.
True.
Like, none. And then when you got the puck, you went sideways with it instead of going forward. And the Wild had, I think it was 8 minutes of zone time in the second period. Like, come on. That's a lot. Might even been more. We lost count at one point. Mm-hmm. And you can't have that. You're defending pretty well because you were still only down by a goal. So you're defending okay, and your goaltender's playing very well. And so you get out of that second period, and you think, okay, one okay period, one not really good period. Let's rally. Mm-hmm. We're down by a goal in Minnesota. They're a team that has collapsed already this year at different times. Like, let's go. Didn't work out that way.
No, not at all.
Minnesota decided to play a full 60 minutes. I don't know who gave them the memo to do that because they haven't done it all year.
New coach.
It's like the new teacher. Want to impress the teacher and get on their good side.
Or the new boss.
Yep.
Yeah,
a lot of ass kissing going on.
Yeah.
And but the Blues also didn't capitalize on their power play. Let's be honest, that's the worst penalty kill in the NHL, the Minnesota Wild. And the Blues power play in the first period, I was okay with it. They had some good looks, moving the puck around crisp, tape to tape. They had some set plays where it goes high to low, pop out, little one-timer. Pavel Muchnievich almost scores on one of those. Jake Neighbors gets an opportunity. You're like, okay, they're generating some offense here. Then the second period, I don't believe they had a power play, but in the third period, you get a 4-minute power play. The poor Oscar Sundqvist. The junkyard dog is what I've nicknamed him at this point. You ever see a junkyard dog, Anthony? You don't really know what kind of breed it is.
Right.
They're big. They're tough.
They're mean.
They're mean. They've been beaten up in the cold and the rain. And they're just, you can't beat them. That's Oscar Sundqvist. He's had a butt end in the face recently, a puck in the face, a stick in the face. Anything that could happen that's happened to him. That means you got to capitalize on your power play, though. 4 minutes, and I said it on the broadcast last night. I said, you can't treat this like you have an eternity to score a goal.
Yeah.
Because what happens then is the power play kind of lulls itself to sleep. You feel really good about yourself. Hey, we're passing the puck around. This is great. Yay, bing, 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 bing. Meanwhile, the penalty kill's like, go ahead, pass around all you want.
Yeah. We don't have to kill anything.
The clock is going away. There, you go ahead. And the Blues just never penetrated to the inside to generate anything. In fact, they got one shot on net at a 4-minute power play. Just can't happen. Just can't. At some point, even the guys on the ice have to realize we're 3 minutes into it, let's say, and we have one shot on net. I'm just shooting it. Hey, guys, get to the front of that. I'm just shooting it. I'm not even going to pass. So I'm going to shoot the puck, and then we have to battle our asses off to retrieve the puck, and then I'm going to shoot the puck again.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
Yeah, you not shooting on the power play is kind of like Auburn using a spy on Jalen Milroe. You're basically playing with 10 guys at that point. You've given up. You've given up an advantage. It's no longer 11 on 11. It's 10 on 11. You not shooting basically gives the advantage. It evens everything out. Because while they're a man down, it's not like you're pressing the issue.
Well, you're not forcing them to react.
Right.
So they're reacting to your passing, sure. But then they're not having to turn around and find pucks that have been shot on net.
Right.
And that's a bad feeling. I can tell you right now, as a defenseman who was a shot-blocking type defenseman, so like Middleton or Brodin for the Wild, they're going to front the puck. They're not afraid to eat it. But what about when the puck gets past you? You know there's a guy behind you. Now you're scramble mode. Now you're trying to find the puck. You're trying to pick up sticks, move bodies. The puck gets moved quickly. Let's say it goes back out to where you're supposed to be. Now you're scurrying back out there. That's how you create offense. When you don't shoot the puck, unfortunately, you can't create a whole bunch of offense.
Right.
And it made it easy for the Wild, and they end up, at one point, Brodin blocks a shot from the point, although it wasn't on the penalty kill, it was even strength, but he makes a little kick save and fires a breakaway pass, and Matt Boldy, who hadn't scored in 10 games, decides to go bar down on you.
Well, he was due, Jamie. He was due.
He was.
Well, especially when you've got a breakaway. Two Blues collide at center ice.
It was not great.
No,
it shouldn't have come to that anyways. The Blues. It was a tough night. I'm not sure exactly why. The only thing that you can circle is that, new coach, amped up team. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I still feel like the Blues should have put the boots to the Wild last night. You got to start doing that stuff.
Yep. All right. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. 211, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. A reminder that tonight, Jamie Rivers and Donnie Fandango are going to be at the Twin Peaks out in Maplewood. Jamie, Donnie, special live taping of the Last Minute Blues podcast. Tonight, 6 to 8 at Twin Peaks in Maplewood. You can hang out with Donnie and Jamie from 6 to 7. Enjoy Twin Peaks selection of local craft beers. And, Jamie, you already know about this. The handcrafted whiskey cocktails.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, and more. Then you can stick around 7 to 8 as the guys cover all the latest hockey news during a special live Last Minute Blues podcast taping. It's all happening tonight from 6 to 8 with Donnie and Jamie at the Twin Peaks out in Maplewood. Learn more at 101ESPN.com.
Yeah, we're going to talk about local blues, recent blues stuff, and then Donnie's got a whole list of things he wants to cover. He wants to get into some Jamie story time and some other questions.
Nice.
So who knows what the heck's going to happen?
Donnie's good. I imagined our boy Donnie too in a good mood. Congratulations to him. He inked a new 2-year deal with the Point.
Multi-year deal.
A multi-year contract.
Wonder
with
if that put us over the
105.7
cap.
You know, Donnie is worth it, even if it did. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm willing to pay the luxury tax.
No doubt, Jamie. No doubt, especially for a guy like that. Okay, Craig Berube is going to join us at 4:30 today. So our weekly chat with the Chief. He'll be on with us 4:30. Can't imagine that he was too happy after last night's performance, but his Ravens continue to look like the Super Bowl team that Jamie, you and I thought they would
I want
be.
to talk to him about that.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't play. Did the Blues play last Sunday night? Or was that because they were the Ravens played the Chargers? You have no idea.
I don't even know where I am
is.
half the time.
I'm not going to ask.
I wake up in a hotel.
Yep, that's
I have
on
to
me.
look outside. This morning I woke up in my own bed, mind you.
The hell am I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where are we?
Where are we?
What are you talking about? St. Louis? The world? The earth? All right. We're going to get back into the Blues at some point. We're also going to talk about just some of the weird teeth gnashing that I think are going on with college football. There's it happens every year. Everybody's overthinking this with the college football playoff and who can get in and the scenarios, but we'll have some fun with that. But there was a report that Sonny Gray's contract is backloaded, so he's not making a ton this year. What does that mean for the Cardinals?
Spend, baby.
Does it? That's next on 101 ESPN. Auto Centers Nissan out in Herculaneum. That's got to be your next spot for your ride. And it could be a new Nissan or it can be a pre-owned vehicle. They've got over 700 vehicles on the lot ready for you to test drive, to choose from. Obviously, I don't think you're going to be driving all 700, but you could check out their selection. It is a wide selection. We just went through the process. Me and my wife, Kristen, we went through the process of looking online first at autocentersnissan.com. We knew we liked the Pathfinder, but we also checked some of their other pre-owned vehicles out. We needed the third row or at least enough space with the three kiddos and the different car seats and boosters. So we went through the process of test driving, 4 or 5 vehicles before we found the one that we loved. And we did wind up with a pre-owned Pathfinder that man, my wife's driving it. She loves it. And we love that we got it from Auto Centers Nissan. And out in Herculaneum, again, they've got the over 700 vehicles on the lot. They've got financing options for everyone. They give you a 30-day return promise because they're so confident that you won't need to bring the vehicle back for any reason. But if you do, you'll get, within 30 days, you'll get a refund, and they'll set you up with something else if you want. But again, the financing options are outstanding. You can still register for that Polaris ATV that they have right there and get yourself a hot dog at no purchase. No purchase necessary on the hot dog. Jamie had about 12 of those things last time we did the remote broadcast. So Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, check them out. Tell them Stalter sent you. Everybody's having a great Wednesday here in St. Louis. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter. At some point today, I will need to take 3 shots for losing in the Pick'em Challenge.
What are we drinking?
Oh, no, Jamie. I mean shots from the airsoft gun as punishment for my dismal performance last week.
My bad, Anthony. I thought we were celebrating something.
No, well, we could celebrate. All we need is one more victory over the Rizzuto show in order to claim the ultimate prize this year, which is them doing a photo shoot where we determine whether or not it's sexy enough.
Or it's just we get to pick what they wear, right?
Like I said, whether or not it's sexy enough.
Yes.
And we know.
What direction do you think we're going with that?
I don't think we should. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's open it up to the people because our fans, our listeners,
they should have a say in this.
They should have a say in it. We appreciate you, and even the weirdos that have been critical of us. We'd love to open it up to you too.
They like us. See, that's the thing about the weirdos. They like us too.
No doubt.
They're just afraid to say it. But then when I see these weirdos in public, okay, they tell me, we really like your show. We listen every day. We like you guys too.
Thank you.
And I'm like, oh.
That's nice of you to say.
It is.
Anyway, so I will take the shots at some point. I got 3 coming to me. They continue to say, by the way, that they've got 3 wins.
The math doesn't equal up.
They don't.
It's impossible.
They don't. We have 8 wins. They have 2 wins, and there's 2 ties. So
it's just
they can talk about the 3 wins all they want. It's not true. So there are several reports, including one by John Becker, who does some, roster stuff for Fangraphs. He says that Sonny Gray, his contract is heavily backloaded, and will pay him just $10 million in 2024, followed by $25 million and then $35 million. So this has led to some speculation by Cardinals fans.
What?
That this year, this offseason, the Cardinals will continue to spend. I think that's one option. I think the other option is that we don't know what's going to happen with the Bally Sports Midwest situation, which obviously is the TV for the TV network that supplies your Cardinals games.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy talk.
Yeah, and we don't know. I'm not. Jamie works for Bally Sports Midwest, but he's not privy to that. That's above his pay grade in terms of.
I've been sworn to secrecy.
Like I said, Jamie doesn't know when it comes to.
You saw through that, huh?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Cool. Good job.
So the only thing we could do is kind of speculate why the Cardinals would stagger the contract for Sonny Gray as is. My bringing up the Bally Sports Midwest situation is kind of for lack of a better word, a warning for those that think the Cardinals are going to spend some more this offseason. That may be the case, but they also might be looking at their financial situation saying, we're going to be better off next year and even better the following year when some of these other contracts come off the books. Why don't we backload it a little bit? Not necessarily they're going to bring in so-and-so, Yamamoto or whoever.
So what if it's a little bit of everything? What if it's a scenario where the Cardinals just told Sonny Gray, hey, listen, you're guaranteed this $75 million. Yeah. How we break it up doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But we do have the RSN deal with Bally's. We don't really know what's going on. So in the first year of contract, it'd be nice to have some flexibility there as an organization so that we can give you your 75 guaranteed at the end of all this. We may also be dipping our toes in the water via trade or maybe even free agency on another player. And it'd be nice to have that cushion as well to give you a better team, to give you more guys, more dudes. So maybe it's a little bit of all of that, where they're like, you know what? Maybe we don't plan on spending it, but if we did, we could. Yeah, that's the way I'd like to think about it.
Sure,
but it doesn't mean they're absolutely committed to spending that money. It's just it's nice to have that little bit of money if you want to. It's kind of like Doug Armstrong. Now it's been tough in the last couple of years because the salary cap has stayed level. But when the salary cap was rising at a normal rate, he always liked to have that $2 or $3 million in buffer zone in case he wanted to add a player or something goes sideways. So I'm trying to believe that that's what the Cardinals are doing is a little bit of all that.
Sure. I also think we have to factor in And I'll get to the counter, which is the thing that I mostly believe in. But I'll present this. Mo did mention at one point how they have to factor in the finances when it comes to the ticket revenue last year. They didn't put the product on the fields, meaning you didn't go to the ballpark as consistently as you have in previous
Still
years.
Still got $3 million through the gate.
You certainly did. But I wonder if this is part of that as well, if that's built in. Now, the counter to that is, what were you doing when the fans were going through the gates consistently?
Oh, that's easy, Anthony. They were growing their bank account.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Which you're allowed to do. I mean, you're the owner. You can make a profit. Go for it, right?
No, you should go broke, giving me a damn winner.
And if you do go broke and we still don't win, that's on you.
Look at the Padres.
Yeah, pick the right
success.
players. Yeah, no kidding. I think there's a balance there. So there could be a multitude of reasons why the Cardinals decided to backload the contract of Sonny Gray at $10 million this year, $25 the next, and $35 the following year. I hope it's to spend more this season. You still got a lot of work to do. When it comes to the starting rotation, you need a top end guy. You need an ace.
You just spent $75 million on it.
You need it. How about this? You need a number one. You need to. Jamie, I'd mentioned this the other day. The question is, for me, when you're looking at the rotation now, okay, what's next this offseason? If I'm Mo, I want to improve on all of those spots. That's my goal now. So can I improve on Gray? Can I improve on Michaelis? Can I improve on Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson and Steven Matz? Can I bump one of these guys to the bullpen? Can I make Sonny Gray my number 2 as opposed to my number 1? That is my question moving forward here.
You got a lot of nice luxury.
You got a lot of time too with this offseason because you started so quickly.
It's only going to come via trade, though, from my perspective, is because even though if you backloaded Sonny Gray's contract, it's not like there's enough there to really go after an ace. But there is enough there if you offset it by moving some money out and then bringing in that extra money. We get a question here on the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, just saying that BK argued that the TV deal had to do, if it had to do with this, they would have front-loaded the contract. No. Bally Sports paid out their bill last year to the Cardinals and have not committed to paying the bill for next year yet. So although they're still in a current contract with Bally's, although I'm not currently on the litigation team by any means, so full disclaimer, the freight hasn't been paid yet for this coming season. So if you front-loaded the contract and all of a sudden the Bally's deal is not there,
right?
That could be
not
tough.
Great.
Yeah.
Marsh, you have a skeptical / fishy look on your face, I would say.
Yeah, I think that they should just stay pat with the starting pitching. Go get Randy Arozarena.
Did you see that, by the way?
No.
He's available. The Rays have made Randy Arozarena available via trade.
Yeah, they don't want to pay him.
But he's got, 2 more years?
I think he's a UFA in 2027.
So maybe he's not the great guy we thought he was.
Oh, stop it.
But what else would the reasoning be?
Reunion!
What if we did something like sending Matthew Liberatore to the Rays for Randy Arozarena?
The old Uno reverse card.
Hey, we've talked about this with dealing with the Rays. You call them, you ask who they want, and then you keep them and / promote them, depending on where they are in the organization. If you're in AAA and the Rays want you.
Would it matter, though, if you got Arozarena?
Yes.
Who would you not part with for Arozarena?
Anybody the Rays say.
Okay, stop.
They know what they're doing.
So let's change the conversation.
Okay.
Eliminate that.
Yeah.
Who would you part with?
For Arozarena?
Yeah. Because Andrew, our good friend here with the new haircut, he suggested, he said, would you trade Gorman for Arozarena? I said no originally.
No. I'm not trading Gorman, and I've been steadfast on this. I'm not trading a young left-handed power bat. What's the Colton Parayko statement?
Yep.
As soon as you trade Colton Parayko, you're going to be searching for somebody with the Colton Parayko skill set. I'm not trading Gorman this year. I realize the back injury. That's my risk. That's the risk.
Parayko had a bad back there last year and the year before, too.
There you go.
How's he doing now?
I'm not saying it's not a concern, but you have it's a myth that we all like to play or what we all like to use when it comes to there's ultimately no risk somewhere. There's always risk with a player. He doesn't develop. He ain't worth the money. Injuries. I realize the risk with Gorman is that he'll continue to have back injuries. So why not trade him now? No, he's a young left-handed power bat. So who would I get? Who would I part with for a Rosarina?
Like, what's your puke point?
I'm trying to compete.
How bad do you need him? Is he automatically your best outfielder immediately?
Yes.
The numbers would say that Lars Nootbaar is probably still your best.
I'm not giving up Newt. I want to see that outfield of a Rosarina, Newt, and then
Jordan Walker.
I'd rather have Jordan Walker as my DH.
Well, he's Randy Arozarena.
He's an upgrade, for sure. But,
absolutely.
But at what cost?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. They're not getting him.
No, of course not. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Let's play Are You Sold next. Are You Sold here on 101 ESPN?
This is the time of year when everyone is thinking of the perfect gift for the holidays. Something that everyone will love and something that is easy to purchase. We have that for you. It's called Sound Story. Sound Story is a professionally produced 1 hour-long conversation in which you or one of your loved ones is interviewed by your choice of our professional interviewers. We got Randy Carricker, Tim McKernan, Anthony Stalter. They're all part of the crew. It's a conversation that includes whatever the experiences they have from their childhood, maybe their business career, school, maybe meeting that special someone. All of these monumental things you can discuss and put it on Sound Story. With Sound Story, you and your loved ones' stories are saved for your family forever. You've got them forever. And you and your siblings can go in on a gift certificate, too, and get your parents a Sound Story starting at $399 at mysoundstory.com. Now through Friday, enter the promo code ESPN and get 20% off. So enter ESPN and you get 20% off that Sound Story gift certificate. Imagine being able to listen to your relatives 10, 15, 20 years from now. Imagine having your grandparents be able to tell stories that your children listen to. It's a gift that is irreplaceable. So remember to go down and visit mysoundstory.com. Sound Story, for you, for them, forever.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues lost last night to the Minnesota Wild by a final score of 3-1. They'll be back in action tomorrow taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Later today, we'll talk with Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, and Blues head coach Craig Berube. So stay tuned for both of those interviews. JR at 3:30 and Craig Berube at 4:30. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Fastline on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Here's Andrew Marsh with a little Are You Sold?
All right, gentlemen, let's start off with some Cardinals baseball. Are you sold on Steven Matz being in the starting rotation to start the 2024 season?
No, absolutely not. I'm not sold on him. I'm not sold on him being in the starting rotation. He might be. But, Jamie, I wonder if they're trying to get one more pitcher, probably via trade. You had mentioned this before. I can't see them signing 4 pitchers, 4 starters.
That'd be a lot.
But I could see them trading for one, or maybe Zach Thompson or one of these other internal options is so good in spring training that Steven Matz goes to the bullpen.
Well, I think as it sits right now, Steven Matz would go to my bullpen anyways. Here's why. Is his ceiling higher than Zach Thompson right now? Yes. We saw that. For a sample size, Steven Matz was really good. Mm-hmm. Problem is, it's been 2 years that you've been waiting for a sample size of really good.
Yeah, a larger sample size.
Right,
really yeah.
Right. And so Zach Thompson, although they barely let him pitch past 4 innings, and then they got crazy and let him pitch 5 innings a couple times.
Somebody got drunk.
Yeah.
Forgot the innings.
Even though they did that, he was still available every 5th day.
Yeah.
Steven Matz hasn't been for 2 years straight. So for me, I'd rather take the young guy who's probably pretty darn close to Steven Matz, lefty, everything that you're looking for, and continue to grow and develop that player while putting Steven Matz in the bullpen. I know it's $44 million you're putting in the bullpen, but do you want to put it on the bump and just go pay $44 million for a guy that's on the IR, or $44 million to, a crapshoot because I have no idea what's coming out of his hand every time he pitches?
Yeah, either way, that $44 million has already been spent.
It has. So I think that it's not automatic that Steven Matz has a spot, so I'm not sold on that at all. In fact, right now, if I'm the Cardinal, I'd be leaning towards Zach Thompson getting that spot before Steven Matz.
Tough one here. Are you sold on Jordan Kyrou finishing out his contract with the Blues?
Well, look, 8 years is a long time for any player. And it's a long time when you're a goal scorer that has to continue to produce, because goal scorers that make the $8 million have a pretty well-rounded game too. Like, not all perfect. They're not the greatest 200-foot players, but they're solid. So Jordan Kyrou is going to have to continue to develop and evolve as a 200-foot player, because the scoring at one point may not be there. And so far this year, it hasn't really been there. So am I sold he finishes his contract here? I'm not sold on anybody ever finishing an 8-year deal.
I'm not sold either. 8 years is, as Jamie just noted, 8 years is a long time. So I'll just play the odds on this one and say that he doesn't finish the contract here. He's dealt at some point. I don't think that's necessarily a knock at it, like a skill set or skill set deteriorating. I think that's a long time to commit that much money to for the course of a play. And I think as he gets older, the contract will look a little bit better or more attractive to teams that might view him just as a goal scorer.
Plus, we don't even know what this team's going to look like at the end of his contract. I mean, This team could be not in a playoff spot, so then they end up trading him.
Yeah, you might be
for
selling off
reason.
like you did with O'Reilly and
For
Tarasenko
sure.
and things like that.
All right, this one comes from the 314. Are you sold that Georgia is eliminated if they lose close to Alabama?
We're going to spend some time on this. I was listening to Beadle and Decker coming in, or I don't know where the hell it's drafted. Maybe the my MAC. And Decker was talking about, it's that easy. You eliminate Georgia if they lose to Alabama. No, it's not.
I don't know if it's that easy.
What are you talking about? You just eliminate them? You don't consider that they were one of the best teams in the nation?
29 games in a row?
Yeah. They're done? Why? Because they don't have a conference championship? If that's the case, then why don't you put Tulane in? Because Tulane will probably have a conference championship. Why wouldn't you put them in? Because of their opponents, right? So if you're factoring that in, and you factor Georgia, who Georgia has beaten this year, I think there's a chance that they would still be in, despite Alabama winning.
It's going to get crazy, man. I know we're going to dive into this for sure, but you still have Oregon and Washington. So if Oregon beats Washington and Oregon and Alabama and possibly Georgia, if we're talking this now, all have one loss.
Right.
One loss, rather.
Yep.
Like, how do you split the hairs properly there? Because it gets muddied.
Yeah, Oregon would have one loss. Yep. Bama would have one loss.
So would
Texas,
Washington. So would Texas.
Washington. Yep.
Everybody except for Florida State, if they get through Louisville.
Ohio State, although I think they should be eliminated. That one to me is a layup. Ohio State would only have one loss too, and they're still ranked 6th.
And they lost to the second best team in the nation.
Right.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into this.
It's
but
so confusing, Anthony.
Spoiler alert for me. Why is Ohio State ranked above Texas?
Yeah.
We'll get into it, though.
I think this is a fair question.
Well, I think it's just because they lost one game to the second best team in the nation.
Yeah.
From the 618, are you sold that Justin Fields is not the guy in Chicago?
Yes, I'm sold that he's not the guy in Chicago.
Are you? I don't know what the hell's going on in Chicago. The coach is terrible. The GM is terrible. The quarterback appears to be somewhat terrible. I don't know. It's a disaster.
He can't read defenses. You watch that game. I mean, Marsh, you watched every down of that game on Monday night.
Unfortunately.
He put up 9 points or 12 points, Anthony. It's a hell of a performance.
They didn't even score a touchdown.
His defense gave him 4 turnovers. He can't read a defense. This is why he bails. This is why he bails almost every snap. And a lot of people were asking, why did they throw so many screen passes? Right. Why did they throw so many screen passes? Why did they have this guy throw sideways 15, 16 times?
I don't know, but if you had the over for
anything,
DJ Moore receptions.
Oh, that one cashed.
That cashed in like the first 2 drives.
Credit Justin Fields for making the one big throw when he needed to. He said that laser throw to DJ Moore, who was uncovered. I don't know how that happened, but no, I'm not sold on Justin Fields.
What's the difference between Justin Fields throwing 15 yards that way or 15 yards sideways?
A lot, Jamie. A lot.
Still 15 yards, man.
Yeah.
He still hit his target, no?
True.
Man,
yeah.
he would have been a good quarterback for the first 2 weeks of the Mizzou season.
He would have. He would have fit right in. And then they would have had to cut him or bench him.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to throw the ball vertically.
Well, they didn't open up the playbook.
Yeah.
Last one here. Are you sold on the front office being able to clear the outfield logjam heading into spring training?
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, how can we be?
How can they?
We still have infielders that can play the outfield.
Bingo. I was driving. I was listening to the morning show, and they were talking about Newt, and Randy and Carey and Brooke were saying, yeah, Newt would look good in center field. And I literally said in my car, I go, why? He's not an infielder, you know?
Oh, not yet.
Maybe they convert him at some point.
He's second base, sure. You know? Never know.
No, I don't think they're going to solve that log jam in the outfields, given how many bodies they have. They like that versatility.
They sure do.
Yeah. All right. I was tuned in yesterday. You guys were somebody's criticizing me that I hyped up Joshua Dobbs, and now he stinks.
No, we said other things too.
I know you did. Yeah. And you guys were very critical. Marsh was upset, and Jamie, I thought you had my back on this. I appreciate you.
Yeah, he had it coming.
Yeah. You You double, tripled, quadrupled down on the Joshua Dobbs jokes after he walked off that plane and onto the field at Mercedes-Benz Stadium and beat my Falcons. You had a lot of jokes. And then I put the Vikings in my Stalter Stackup.
What number, Anthony?
Number 10. And you, Marsh.
Yeah.
You didn't do the Stalter Stackup last week, did you?
Well, it was a short week.
Oh.
So
we
the
had
Vikings.
we had a lot of signings. We had other stuff going on, more important things than, keeping the Vikings
more
at 10.
important than
Well, I know
Stalter.
they're not in the top 10 now because they shouldn't be.
Oh, you might leave them there.
Technically, they were still the 10th team last time I did the Stalter Stackup. So that loss was on you, Marsh.
Damn it!
I do have a new top 10 team.
Thank
And it
goodness.
is
It
controversial.
doesn't even matter. They have a bye this week.
Very controversial.
I'd leave them there.
That's why I'm leaving. Well, no, it's a bye. I just want to reevaluate that Monday night performance. I think there was a lot to like despite the 4 turnovers and the loss to a bad team. Stalter Stack up next on 101 ESPN.
Are you looking right now to remodel your kitchen or your bathroom, and maybe you just don't know what's trendy? Maybe you don't know what kind of countertop you want. Maybe you're not sure if it's a certain style of cabinet or color. I'll take all of that out of the way. Go visit E&B Granite. My friends over there are the best in the business, and they're going to take great care of you. First, stop off by the showroom, and that's located at 6135 Manchester Avenue. And when you walk in there, just tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in, and they're going to help you out. They're going to ask you, what's your vision? Maybe you don't have one. Fine. They've got you covered. They're going to just ask you some simple questions as to maybe some of your personal likes or dislikes. And then they're going to sit there and build out your kitchen or your bathroom with you. And they do a phenomenal job. And they've got so much great inventory. As far as the countertops are concerned, they've got granite, they've got quartz, they've got marble, soapstone. It's all located in the back of the warehouse, too, so you can go look and walk through the aisles and pick the exact one you want. And you get to see the whole pattern of it. And then the process from there is awesome. The technicians get in, they measure, they take out all the old stuff, install the brand new stuff, and you are good to go. So please get by the showroom or book an appointment at 314-645-9300. That's 314-645-9300, or visit them at enbgranite.com.
It's time for the Stalter Stackup. The top 10 teams in the NFL from the mind of Anthony Stalter.
All right, just a heads up on this. I know everybody's waiting for my number 10 selection, my number 10 slot, because that has become kind of controversial. It will be again today.
Do you think fans listening right now are just praying that their favorite team is not number 10?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, for those that don't know, the team that I have placed in my Stalter Stackup at number 10 has lost that week. And there's been some pretty grisly losses. When I had the Vikings, that was when they lost to
Denver,
the Broncos, who, they've gotten better. But then Marsh didn't do the Stalter Stackup last week, so the Vikings were technically still number 10, and they lost to the Bears. I had the Texans at one point when they lost to the Panthers at number 10. The Bills lost to the Broncos.
Yeah, your number 10 is like the Black Rose.
Certainly is.
You get one of those, it's all over.
Yep. Grim Reaper's going to stop by. Mm-hmm. All right, so since everybody's waiting for number 10, let's get to number 1.
Okay. Number 1.
Got to be the Eagles. I actually have the 49ers winning this week in Philadelphia, but I'm not going to do the thing where I put the 49ers 1, anticipating that they're going to win. The Eagles deserve it. The Eagles went into Arrowhead. Should have lost, didn't. Found a way to win. Last week should have lost against the Bills at home. Found a way to win. That's all they've done since day one. They have one of the best rosters, top to bottom in the league. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, what about Dak Prescott for MVP or Travis Kelce or not Travis Kelce, excuse me, Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts, I think, is the MVP leader at this point with the way that he's playing. He's been remarkable. So Eagles, number 1.
Number 2.
I got the Chiefs, 2. When they were down 14-0 to the Raiders, I'm like, I'm going to have the 49ers, number 2, or the Ravens up over the Chiefs. But they came roaring back. The second half has been a problem all season long for Kansas City. But Sunday, they flipped the script. This is one of those teams where you just know eventually the offense is going to figure it out. They're going to start humming. And with the way that they played in the second half against the Raiders, really the second quarter on, I think this offense is coming around. The defense has been good since week 1. So Chiefs at number 2.
Number 3.
I got the 49ers number 3. They had their little spell in the middle of the season, but that was without Deebo Samuel. At one point, Christian McCaffrey didn't, he was banged up against the Browns. He had left that game too. So they had a little issue. When they're healthy, they're one of the best teams in the league. It's why Jamie and I have them as the NFC representative this year in the Super Bowl. So I got the Niners at number 3. Big game this weekend at Lincoln Financial.
Number 4.
This is where I have the AFC representative for Jamie and I.
Oh, boy.
The Ravens. The Ravens.
Can't forget about Chief, too.
Yeah, and Chief as well, of course. Yeah. The Ravens are physical. They play great defense. They've got, an element offensively, obviously, with Lamar, but Zay Flowers, who scored the touchdown to put them up, put the game away against the Chargers on Sunday. I really like Mitchell, their rookie back. I didn't realize that is Anthony Mitchell's son, who played with the Ravens.
I didn't know that either.
Early in 2000, I remember watching him. He's explosive. Gus Edwards is good between the tackles. Losing Mark Andrews hurts, but if you watched Isaiah Likely on Sunday night, Likely's got a lot of athleticism. He's a good player. A little better than people think.
It's one of my favorites.
One of mine as well, Isaiah Likely. So the Ravens, number 4.
5.
I got the Dolphins, number 5. Took care of business last week. How about the play right before half? The Hail Mary. Tim Boyle puts one up on that Black Friday game against the Dolphins and Jets, and the Dolphins return it. 99-something odd yards, 4 touchdowns.
So fitting.
It is fit the Jets season.
How is that guy in the NFL? And how is he a starting quarterback?
Well,
When you see the other option?
when Aaron Rodgers is hurt and Zach Wilson is, doing his thing, Tim Boyle winds up looking pretty good.
They should have never gotten rid of Smitty.
No, they shouldn't have.
You're right.
Yeah.
The guy's a pillar.
Yep, he certainly was.
What's his last name again?
Mike White.
Yeah, Smitty.
Yeah, Smitty. Jamie called him Mike Smith at one point or something.
I just started calling him Smitty because I
Smitty.
thought his last name was Smith.
Yes.
And you guys you went with it for like 2 weeks, and you're like, who the hell is Smitty?
I love it. But Dolphins, number 5, I don't think they still haven't beaten a team with a winning record, but They're fun. They're fun to watch. And that defense has looked better.
Did you see, real quick, I'll make this fast. Did you see Mike McDaniel on the sidelines against the Bills?
Oh, yeah, he was chirping at the fans.
The fans, Bills Mafia's just giving it to him about standing in front of the heater, And, him, he's like, I'm cold. He waits and he turns around and goes, and winning.
That's awesome.
It was unbelievable.
He's great.
He is great.
So Dolphins number 5.
Number 6.
I got how about them Cowboys?
Yeah.
The Cowboys haven't played anybody really. They haven't. But if this was like the BCS era, the Cowboys would fare pretty well because who they do beat, they crush them. 45-10 against Washington on Thanksgiving. 33-10 last week against Carolina. 49-17 against the Giants. Really, hard-fought loss, I guess, against Philadelphia. A game that they could have won and maybe even should have won. But the only reason I have them at 6 at this point, again, they haven't beaten anybody. They're like Miami, and I think Miami's just a better team at this point. They haven't really beaten anybody. They got challenged by the 49ers. Lost 42-10. They went to Philly, played well, but still lost 28-23. So at some point, maybe the Cowboys find them their way up, but I got them at 6 at this point.
Number 7, thank you.
I got the Jaguars. I liked Houston last Sunday. I thought they would win. Maybe they should have. C.J. Stroud, I thought there was more times than ever that he looked kind of like a rookie. But credit Jacksonville for getting it done. They had that ugly loss against the 49ers, 34-3, but since that point, they hung 34 on Tennessee and took care of business in Houston last week, winning 24-21. I think the Jaguars are a top 10 team. I think that they're kind of flying under the radar. They have all the elements to be really good. And if you look at Miami and say they've got flaws, or Baltimore or Kansas City, they have flaws. Jacksonville, again, kind of flying under the radar. I think they're more of a contender than people are talking about. So I got Jacksonville at 7.
Number 8.
I had to drop Jamie's Lions down for their Thanksgiving performance. Jared Goff has looked terrible the last 2 weeks. He's been a turnover machine. Won the game against the Bears because they're the Bears. The last week, Jordan Love outplayed him. Jordan Love outplayed Goff. The Packers outplayed him thoroughly.
Not good.
The last 2 weeks, man, he's been a turnover machine. But they're still a top team. I got them at 8.
Number 9.
The real controversy is coming up at 10, but I got the Bills at number 9, even though they're 6-6. You can't tell me that team is not still a playoff contender, a legit playoff contender, with the way that they played in Philadelphia. Should have won that game. They're in control. I know Josh Allen threw the one interception that kind of got the Eagles back in the game, but otherwise he was outstanding on third down. He was outstanding when they absolutely needed him to be, and he was, playing in a driving rainstorm against a team that went to the Super Bowl last year and had every opportunity to win it. So the Bills, to me, are still a top 10 team despite the record.
Oof.
Number 10.
This one, again, this is going to be controversial. But there's some news that came out earlier today that gave me a lot of hope that this team's going to turn it around in the final 2 months here. Talking about one of the best defenses in the league. One of the better young running backs in Breece Hall.
No.
Garrett Wilson. I got the New York Jets at number 10.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said.
4-7.
Yeah.
I don't care what witchcraft
Aaron Rodgers.
ayahuasca boys
Aaron Rodgers is back.
No,
he's
he's not.
practicing this week.
No, he's not.
The Jets are playing the Falcons. Got to put the Jets in the top 10.
Oh. You're a menace to society.
You telling me that defense isn't one of the best in the league?
You are sick and twisted.
The Jets are winning this week.
Just because you're number 10
The Jets are winning
pick,
this week.
Now this doesn't work this way, by the way. It doesn't work this way. You can do it to damage other people. The number 10, you can't use it to benefit yourself.
What?
Watch what happens. The Falcons are going to win 44-10 this week. Watch this. You brought this on.
You mean the Jets?
The Jets are going to win.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm hoping the Falcons win 45-10.
Yeah. So you know what, Anthony? Brain damage is real, okay? I'm glad you find it funny.
No, I believe it. I believe in this team. I saw a lot on Black Friday.
I knew you were dialing something up. You said the Jets. I go, I wonder who they're playing this week.
Guys, I'm offended that you think that I'm using the Stalter Stackup number 10 pick as some sort of benefit to me.
This is crap.
One thing to use it with vengeance. It's another thing to use it to try and benefit yourself. That's worse.
It's a
That's
top 10
disgusting.
team.
This is going to blow up in your face.
Oh, you like the
All over
Steelers?
it.
Do you think the Steelers are a good team? Or the Browns?
What about the Broncos?
I'm afraid to put a team there.
They're moving up, but I can't put them ahead of the Jets. The Jets beat the Broncos, so.
You are unbelievable. This is the TSN turning point for your Falcons.
Yes, it is.
You invested in the Blues this year. BK and Ferrari had that discussion. We want to open it up to you, mic drop wise. Are you invested this year? Or do you feel like there's something lacking when it comes to maybe the style of play or the star power?
We're a playoff team right now.
They are a playoff team, darn right. So we know Jamie's invested. Are you? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Cheap, fun.
Holiday season is upon us. No better place to pick up all of your holiday beverages than Dirt Cheap, St. Louis's one-stop party shop. Whether it's beer, wine, any other spirits that you're desiring, Dirt Cheap has the best deals out there. I mean, they always have great specials, savings on all sorts of different alcohols. And the name Dirt Cheap is just about the prices because the inventory is high end. They've got the good stuff, especially when it comes to the bourbon. They've got the Elijah Craig. They've got Angel's Envy. They've got Blanton's. They've got all of the ones that you're looking for. Trust me. I know. I have purchased these from Dirt Cheap. It's fantastic. And it is bourbon season, too. So please get by Dirt Cheap. Pick up your favorite bourbon. Also, download the app. The app is awesome and offers you even more savings. There's the VIP Blues Club. There's so much available. Just download the app and start surfing today. But it is holiday season. Please stop by Dirt Cheap, any location. Tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. They're going to love that. And remember, have fun, but be careful out there.
To be honest with you, man, it's hard for me to connect with them. Like, I'm watching the games, I've got them on, but yesterday I started out, I had the double screens going, right? I've got, on the big screen, I had the Blues game, and on my phone, I had the Mizzou game as I was sitting with baby Luca. And by the end of the first period, I was like, I think it's time to switch up this format here. I'm going to go big screen Mizzou, small screen Blues. And I've felt myself kind of going that direction most of the year, especially recently. I don't feel emotionally invested to this team, and I can't put my finger on why that is.
That was Brandon Kiley on BK and Ferrario
Sounds
earlier
like a you
today.
problem, BK.
Oh, wow. Okay, Jamie, just jumping right into it. What do you think? What do you think about the comments?
Well, I guess where I go with this is, so the team has to win a Stanley Cup for you to be connected to it? Like, it's nice. It was fun. It was great. But that's the standard? Because the Blues have missed the playoffs once in the last, 5 years, 6 years? And before, like, they've had a string of being a very competitive team. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you can't connect to a team that is fighting back from a bad season last year. Is every game perfect? No, it's not. We just talked about it earlier. Last game was not good. The effort wasn't there. The execution wasn't there. And those moments are going to happen, though. So I guess it's not so much if you connect with this team. What were your expectations to begin with?
Right.
Like, if your expectations were to win the Western Conference, then you're probably not connected to this team. Mm-hmm. But if you're, and I know BK and Ferrario, I think I could go back to where BK said that they'd struggle to be a playoff team. If that's true, then they're in the playoffs right now. So how are you struggling to connect with this team? Just because they have inconsistent games? It's just like any team that's trying to refine their way.
Sure. So my question then would be, is it not that? Is it more just like the style? Stylistically, are you not invested? Do you not think that they're, a team that is...
Maybe.
That's what I almost
took from. But again, you got to tell me what you were expecting. You can't just say, I don't know if I'm invested. But what was your initial, draw to the team? Like, if it was goal scoring, then early on probably didn't feel a connection. If it was solid defense, early on you did have a connection. If it was a bunch of fights, probably not going to have a connection to this team. Mm-hmm. If it's good goaltending, you probably do have a connection to this team.
Right.
So for me, it's all personal taste in what you're looking for.
See, for me, my expectation was that they're meeting my expectation. I thought they were going to be inconsistent, but at the end of the year, they're going to be a team that's in the playoffs. They're not going to be a team that makes a deep run. That wasn't my expectation, but my expectation was, they're going to kind of figure it out as the season wears on. Nothing has surprised me thus far about this year.
I think for me, they're just not compelling, and I can't trust them right now when it comes to what they're going to do each game. One game, they look like a great team, but until they start stringing together multiple 60-minute games where they're playing their best hockey, or it doesn't even need to be their best hockey, but hockey that we've seen them do early in the season, just to be a little bit more consistent. And I also think for me, there's a lot of other outside things that are going on that just have sort of grabbed my attention more than the Blues right now. I know BK alluded to watching Mizzou. That's something that he's interested in. If it's on the weekend. But
that was something he was interested in to begin with.
No, for sure. But if there's like a game on the weekend, am I going to be fully tuned into the Blues? Or am I going to be watching college football? Am I going to be watching the NFL? There's just some things.
Your interests are split right now.
For sure. So I think if we're talking small screen, big screen, I think right now the Blues are on my small screen.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with that. But you're comparing it to college football coming down to the wire, bowl games, playoff implications.
But for me, college, and this is just my personal opinion, college football has never been over Blues hockey. I've always been fully invested in Blues hockey. I'm just not right now. And
So
I don't know if it's because of the lack of star power on the team or what it is. I like BK, I don't really know what it is, but I just know how I feel. And right now, I'm not feeling like this is a team that I'm fully invested in. But that could change, obviously, as the season progresses.
But what was your expectations coming into the season? Because I feel like if you weren't invested before the season, knowing the roster, you're probably not going to be invested now because nothing changed.
I was invested in the Blues. And
so what changed?
What changed is the inconsistency.
But did you expect it to be different?
I expected them to play a little bit better. But again,
so being in a playoff spot 21 games into the season, you expected that.
I mean, Army laid it out. He thinks that this team could be a third-place team, and we've seen good hockey at points in the season. I think, at least for me, recently, the loss against the Sharks has really sort of put a damper on how I feel about this team. And the way, and again, last night, a team that you should beat in Minnesota, they've been terrible. Like, those are games that you need to win, in my opinion. I think for me, it's not so much on expectations as much as it is just a feeling that I have that this team is not one that I'm emotionally invested in right now.
Well, let's hear from you. We asked for your mic drops on this. Brendan left us a mic drop. What does he have to say?
Guys, and I'm sorry, Jamie, but the Blues this year, as BK alluded to earlier today, have been given the small screen treatment this year. Until they can prove to me that they can go out there on a consistent basis and put up some scoring from the young studs that we're supposed to have on this team, Kyrou, Thomas, they're going to be getting on the small screen, the iPhone, while Mizzou and other teams that are worth watching are on the 65-inch.
Okay, so the more I hear, then the more I'm thinking that this is a Mizzou thing, that people they were invested in Mizzou because Mizzou was what? They were having a good season. They have been having a good season. So to Jamie's point, if it comes down to a November Blues game in the middle of a week, or Mizzou playing on a Black Friday, or an early season Saturday game for the Blues, compared to Mizzou taking on Tennessee, you're going to be more apt to go to the Mizzou game. I get that. It is toward the end of college football right now. Are you going to have the Blues play on Saturday? Do we know?
On the road.
They're on the road on Saturday?
Yeah.
So you have an absolutely loaded college football Saturday with all the championship games. You've got the Pac-12 championship game on Friday night, but everything else plays on Saturday. I would have the Blues on the small screen too. In that case, the game is there's more importance at this point in the college season, if you're a college football fan, than there is in a Saturday game for the Blues, in early December. I think this would be interesting the more that the season wears on, and the more we get away from the football season.
Yeah, and I also feel like some people's expectations may have been blown up. Because when I look at this team right now, this team is kind of what I thought it would be, with the possibility of playing better. So when you look at this team right now, is it a team that's compelling every single night? No, but that's what the coach is telling you that too. He needs a more consistent effort out of this team. Like, Greg Berube's not lying to you when he's talking through the media. The players aren't lying to you when they say we got to execute better, we got to do this more. They're not. This is a team that's playing exactly where they kind of should be. Now just imagine if they had an actual power play that did damage. They don't currently. But if they did, they could potentially have 2 or 3 more wins right now. That would catapult them into third place in the division. Where did Army say they'd be?
Third place.
Third place.
So, you see what I'm saying? It's not that far off. And I'm not sitting here just defending the Blues. And some text messages are like, I just whatever. I'm being completely honest with you. And if the players were sitting here right now, I'd say the same thing. You guys know that it hasn't been good enough. The expectations are higher. Now, is it realistic to set expectations to a certain height knowing that maybe this team can't get there? Then that's on you, the fan. And if you're that kind of a fan, you should be bought in anyways. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're blurred by your Blues-colored glasses and you think that this team's a #1 team and now you're disappointed, well, that's on you.
Yeah.
If you're realistic coming into the season saying, hey, man, I would settle for a damn playoff spot because last year stunk. I didn't like being out of the playoffs 2 months before the friggin' thing was over. Then this is compelling to you.
Mm-hmm. And maybe there's some carryover from what we saw in the summer from the Cardinals. Where
Cardinals' fault.
Maybe it is, and we can't really
with the Blues, though.
Statistically, say, okay, this is the Cardinals' fault. But like watching them this past summer, if giving up 4 runs or 5 runs in the first inning, I'm like, I'm good. I don't need to watch the rest of this. I know the outcome of this. When the Blues go down 2-0 early in the game, most likely they're not coming back because they have not shown that this year. And that's stats right there. The analytics, right? So I feel like maybe you're tuned in for a little bit of the game, but once it gets to a point where you're like, this team hasn't shown me that they can come back, I'm probably either going to turn it off or I'm going to put it on the small screen.
I'm splitting hairs here, but I don't think that invested is the right word. I think compelling is the right word. Are they compelling right now? No, probably not. Could they be compelling the more that the season wears on? Yeah, I do. I think that. Invested is like, no matter what. And I don't think they're necessarily as compelling now. But
I think a win streak helps that for sure.
A win streak, winning is a cure-all for everything.
You remember when the Cardinals went on their 17-game winning streak? That entire year was like, oh God,
right? And it didn't matter who was that. That was in the midst of college football too, by the way, and the NFL. Because I remember when we went to Wrigley Fields.
Oh yeah,
we went to Wrigley, and the streak was on the line. And I remember we were at the rooftop, Jamie, and walking down and getting a ice cold soda, and
Pepsi.
Like Notre Dame was playing Michigan State. So I remember that was later. Obviously, it was later in the year, but the college football was on, and everybody was tuning into the Cardinals. So it's got everything to do with how you're winning, if you're winning. And right now they're inconsistent. They're trying to figure things out. But I think as the season wears on, they're going to be more compelling. St. Louis, is it still a destination? Well, based on what Sonny Gray said the other day, I think that answer is absolutely yes. We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN.
Going into this thing, I wanted to be a Cardinal. That started probably a little over a year ago. It's a place that every time I've come here as a visitor, I've looked at the stadium and I've said, wow, this place is incredible. I looked around the seats and I've seen the fans, and the fans continue to show up and they support this team. And then you talk around the league and you talk around different guys who have been all over the place, and everybody raves about St. Louis, the Cardinals, the fans, how the fans support you, how the fans are hard on you, how the fans expect you to win, expect greatness, which is something that, as a player, as a competitor, that's something that you want.
That was Sonny Gray at the press conference earlier this week. It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh. As I was listening to Sonny Gray, one of the bigger things that stood out was what he talked about with the fans. And I don't think that maybe some of it was just kind of placating to his new fan base. But when he said that he wanted to be a Cardinal, and that process, not the process, but he wanted to be a Cardinal for over a year, I don't think he was just doing the whole, hey, I just signed here in St. Louis, so I better hype up the fans. I think that is part of it. And when we have the conversation about whether or not St. Louis is still a destination, yeah, it clearly is. Now, is it going to be a destination for everybody? No.
Is it a destination for 27, 28-year-old free agents?
Maybe not. Is it a destination for somebody like Paul Goldschmidt or Nolan Arenado or Sonny Gray, guys that really just focus on baseball, and as long as the money's right from a market standpoint, they're more than happy to come to St. Louis and focus on this because they know that the fan base is going to be into it. They're not going to be playing in front of a bunch of empty seats when, of course, the team is competitive. Does it matter to Giancarlo Stanton? Yeah. He told us as much.
Oh, yeah.
He wanted to go to the top four teams from the previous year. They were all big market teams. Wanted to go into the Yankees. But I think when we get the question, Jamie, about is St. Louis still a destination? It's still a destination. So, yeah, to certain guys it is. Certain guys do factor in that the fan base is going to be passionate. That when you show up in St. Louis, there is a different feel to Busch Stadium than maybe some of these other stadiums around baseball. Opening day, the home opener is always exciting. There is just this vibe that goes with it. So I would say yes, just not for everybody. But I wonder how much that was the case even, back when the whole baseball heaven thing was going on.
Yeah.
With Scott Rowland and Jimmy Ballgame and obviously Albert and Yachty, I think there's probably some players that said, you know what, the Midwest isn't my thing. We're talking about human beings here who have different goals and, different things that they look at when it comes to signing with certain teams. But they're still, and Sonny Gray's one of them, there's still a huge portion of the league that would love to play here.
Yeah, and I think, again, it depends on your personality. It depends on your age. It depends on a lot of personal circumstances, too. But it also, for me, comes down to, how much are you invested in baseball? Because I feel like if you're invested in baseball, this is a spot that you desire. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you're invested in other marketing opportunities or bigger selection of nightclubs or restaurants or scenery or whatever, population, then maybe it's not here for you. Maybe it's the Yankees. Maybe it's the Dodgers. But I feel like when you look at Jimmy Ballgame, we know Jimmy's a very outgoing personality, but he also, baseball was the number one thing for him. Paul Goldschmidt, Scott Rowland, Nolan Arenado, Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols. These guys all have one thing in common, baseball's the ultimate. Mm-hmm. So that's why I feel like they were drawn to not just coming here, but staying here. And Sonny Gray carries a damn baseball around with him everywhere. I don't know if that's true. I'm going to call him. It's like the program now.
Yeah.
If I see you without a ball, Sonny Gray,
you're in a lot of trouble.
I'm calling you out.
Yeah.
But still, he seems like a total baseball nerd. Yeah. So being in St. Louis is perfect. So maybe it comes down to that more than anything.
Yep, I agree. No? Marsh?
What's wrong, Marshy?
Nothing.
Oh. I thought the way you shook your head was, I thought you're...
I mean, Jamie said it very... Very nice.
He said it perfectly.
He said it perfectly. Well said.
You right now are James Carville in old school. When you look at the moderator and say, I've got nothing.
I got nothing.
The answer is perfect.
Jamie blacked out.
Yep.
Had a great answer. And I have no response because everything he said was spot on.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us in about 5 minutes. We'll talk to him about the Blues loss last night and some other Blues-related topics. He's our insider with The Athletic, of course. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Kerry Davis will be joining Moon from the Rizzuto Show, 105.7 The Point. Each week, as everybody knows, during the NFL season, the Fastlane and Rizzuto Show are battling, although not much of a battle these days, in the Pick'em Challenge. But sometimes we come together to hang out and watch some football in person. A couple of weeks ago, Marsh joined Learn at a Cybergs. Last week, King Scott and I went to the Cybergs, kind of right up the road here on 270.
That's my Cybergs,
That's your
baby.
Cybergs, the Viking Cybergs. You could join Moon from the Riz Show and Kerry Davis tomorrow night, 6 to 8 at Cybergs downtown. Go watch the Thursday night football game. Get signed up for some one-on-one ESPN and point giveaways. Plus, enjoy a cold Bud Light. It's tomorrow night, Thursday night, 6 to 8 with Kerry Davis, Moon, and Bud Light at Cybergs on Market Street in downtown. Jeremy Rutherford next on 101 ESPN.
All right, guys, listen up. You hear Anthony and I talk about mentality all the time and, sitting down with their board-certified physicians because we don't feel like we have energy or we're irritable, all that stuff, right? I want to talk about a little bit of a different direction. I was low in testosterone, and so I go weekly with a program designed for me for testosterone and vitamins. Then they introduced me to peptides. No idea what this even was before, but I was complaining about some small injuries that still are nagging. I wasn't getting great sleep and things like that. It has changed my world. So not only has the testosterone and vitamins helped, but now the peptides are there. This is what mentality does, Anthony.
Yeah, if you're competitive like Jamie and I are, you want to make sure that you're at your best all the time. At work, at home, you want to be the best version of yourself. So if you're not feeling like you're the best version of yourself and wanting to do the things that you did, maybe 10 years ago or so, as my mic punches me in the mouth. Yeah. That's all right. I use mentality, so it just bounces right off of me, Jamie. But you gotta give mentality a call, or just go down there or visit them, on their website. But the bottom line is when you go on their program, you start to feel good. And you start to feel like you've got more energy because you do. And then you get back in the gym. And then things start to kind of line up. So if you are competitive and you're tired of losing the day, then head down to Mentality. Tell them Jamie and Anthony sent you from 101 ESPN. They'll love to hear that. And they'll set you up just like they did with Jamie and I. And I'm telling you, Jamie's telling you, not too long into the program, you're going to feel great.
Trust me, fellas, you will thank us. So go see them in person or visit them at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues lost last night to the Minnesota Wild. Final score 3-1. They will be back in action tomorrow night taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We will talk with Blues head coach Craig Berube at 4:30 to get his thoughts on last night's game. But coming up next, we have Jeremy Rutherford, our insider from The Athletic. He's also going to give his insights on how the Blues fared last night in Minnesota. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and this Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, the independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Notes and nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN with Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to our 101 ESPN Celebrity Line. We're joined by our guy, Jeremy Rutherford from The Athletic. JR, how are you?
Doing great, Anthony. Thanks. Hope you guys are doing well.
Same to you there, JR. Last night, when we opened up the show, Jamie said, the offense, I think, was more of the issue last night in the 3-1 loss to the Wilds. If I were to say to you, the biggest issue in last night's loss was, how would you complete that sentence?
Yeah, I would say the power play. And, he's not wrong, obviously, with the offense, but that kind of ties in with the power play, and we've seen it all year. But, to me, it's just another one of how many games that, just one power play goal could have got you a point out of that game. And so to have that double minor, 7 minutes left to go in the game, we've seen some good power plays over the year. They're going to put one of those in, and if not two, like Craig Berube said afterwards, and you get a point at least out of that game. So that's the toughest part, I think, for fans to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, JR, in talking to Craig Berube as much as you do, what is Chief consistently saying about this power play?
I think it's more shots on net, and I think that to be quicker with the passing, to be one step ahead, and the good power plays we've seen in St. Louis, I think that's been there. It's been there throughout, just to name one guy, Torrey Krug, his career in Boston, and then when he came here, you had the one-timer from David Perron a couple years ago where everything was kind of quick twitch, and I don't think you see that. I think everything's deliberate. The fans watching from home on TV can probably tell you where the puck is going to go, and then when it does get there, it's just too slow. This is too easy right now for the PKs.
JR, I know that you were listening earlier today when we were discussing the Blues and, whether or not they're compelling, the investment, all that. One thing that Jamie kept going back to was the expectations. What were your expectations? How would you properly evaluate this team at this point?
Well, I would agree with Riv there, and obviously we've had those conversations before. Just a little context here. Being the beat writer, 19 years, been there in the lean years, been there for a Stanley Cup, and I get it. I get the emotion. I get the interest, and, a lot of times I'll get messages from people that talk about how much they pay for tickets. And look, I got a press pass. I don't have to think about whether I'm putting money into this franchise or not, and whether they're giving me the bang for the buck with their effort and the wins that they get out of it. But the one thing I'll say is I try to be a realist, and there's been years where this team is supposed to be really, really good. And when they're not, you hold them accountable, and you mentioned the reasons why they're not. I went into this season knowing that this is a retool, and I think that that's where my curve is on grading them. And now the way I look at it, guys, you got three sets of fans. You got the fans who, their grandpa right before he passed away got to see the Stanley Cup and everybody was crying, and they're never, ever going to forget that, and they're going to stand by the Blues through thick and thin. Then you have, some middle fans where they see that it's a retool, and they're going to give the Blues the benefit of the doubt and hope that they're going to be pretty good in a couple of years. And then I got to be honest with you. I mean, it's part of the job. I get it. But I go into every single Blues game now knowing that if something goes wrong, there's going to be fans on social media that are going to grade this team like it's supposed to win the Stanley Cup. I'll wrap up by saying this. I think that you can have it both ways, where you're patient and understand that it's a retool, and some of these guys are going to be growing, and it's going to take some time till they get more talent on this team. And at the same time, you can be disappointed in those top guys making the big bucks that aren't performing well and think, okay, this is the future. I'm not so sold on this. So that's the way I do it anyway. I can sit down and watch the game and say, okay, Jake Neighbors is coming along. I'm going to be patient. He's going to be a good player. And Jordan Kyrou, where's the goal scoring, and power play, where's the goals? I think that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you to elaborate on that in just a second. But to your point, JR, the fan base here can't be angry when the general manager, president of hockey operations, basically told them exactly kind of the way this was going to go down and what it was going to look like for the foreseeable future, and then expect something different. And then to your point about Jordan Kyrou, he obviously was a big piece of the pie here when you gave him the 8x8 contract, and he just hasn't had the production as of yet. I won't say the success, because he's had a ton of opportunities. He just hasn't had the production. When you're watching Jordan Kyrou, how do you think he can change that around?
Well, okay, so I'll get to Kyrou in a second. Yeah, when I look at this team, and especially, Riv, like I was kind of touching on a second ago there, people say, well, why didn't Doug Armstrong do more in the offseason to make this team better? Well, that wasn't the game plan. Could he have traded the numbers? Yeah, he tried to trade Torrey Krug to Philadelphia. That didn't work out. But also, he could have traded one or more of those first-round picks, or he could have traded Jordan Kyrou or whoever. I'm just naming him, somebody on this roster to try to do something for this team. But that's not the business he's in right now with where this team's at. He's in a situation where, hey, let the Dvorskys play in Sudbury. Let these Snuggeroods play in Minnesota. Let these guys develop, and in a year or two, we're going to see those guys, and then you're going to have a 27, 28-year-old Kyrou and Thomas who've probably hit their stride, and maybe a Perinovich, so on and so forth. So to me, that's where his thinking is. Could he have made the team a lot better and more competitive, and they'd be leading the Central Division right now? He could have. He probably could have. But that's not where they're at right now, and I think that when people kind of pay attention to the long game, I think that's what they're going to see is what he's seeing right now. And that doesn't mean every decision goes right or you're going to agree with every decision. It's just that's the path they're taking. And then with Kyrou, I wrote it the other day at The Athletic. I still think he's got the ability to make a huge impact in this league and be that type of player. There's still some lapses. There's still some holes. I know the coaches are preaching it to him, and I do think hopefully that one day it'll sink in with him. But that said, I think he's made strides defensively this year. Some people are going to disagree with that. And I think in the end, he's going to be a better player for what he's going through. And in the meantime, the goals just aren't going in for him.
JR, what do you got? What are you working on at The Athletic?
Well, I think I might have touched on it with you guys last week, but it's actually coming out tomorrow. It'll be at The Athletic. I shadowed Craig Berube last week in Arizona from 7:30 in the morning, our first meeting out in the lobby of the Omni Hotel. Met him at the rink on several occasions, interviewed him basically about every hour, and just talked about what he goes through on game day. So the story is called A Day in the Life of an NHL Coach, following Craig Berube around, and it'll be up at The Athletic tomorrow.
Nice. That'd be great.
JR was on the road, and he was bugging Chief. I mean, my goodness. No, Chief was awesome with JR. He always is. And you know this, Anthony. He's always so great. So I can imagine this is going to be an awesome piece, JR.
Yeah, fun one. Some nuggets in there about what he does throughout the day. And, of course, he met some relatives. That's kind of one of the perks on the job, that you go out of town and you run into some folks that you haven't seen in a while. So he did that on this trip. And, I'll tease you on this one. How many times does Chief eat in a day on game day, and how many cups of coffee does he drink? You'll find that out tomorrow on the story.
Nice. All right. We will talk to Chief about less than an hour. 4:30 he'll join us. JR, we look forward to that piece on Chief coming out tomorrow, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, boys.
All right, that's Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic at JP Rutherford. That's where you can join him.
So quick story about Chief on this one regarding JR's story is we landed at, I forget what time it was, 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you're just like, woof, we're done. And it was the night before Thanksgiving. So JR happened to be on the charter with us coming back, which was nice of the Blues to allow that.
Yeah.
And JR had asked for Chief, like, can I get you for 60 seconds, like when we land? Well, when you land, there's a pecking order in the plane. And the coaches get up and they get off the plane.
Yeah.
Then you sit down and you wait. The players get all their stuff and they get off the plane. I mean, this is the reason why you're there. It's the players, the coaching staff.
Of course.
You're happy to be a part of it.
Yes.
So that's, so the media, including television and The Athletic, wait politely, respectfully, and everybody leaves the plane. But you got to imagine the head start the Chief has at this point.
Yeah.
His daughters are in town. His wife is in town. Thanksgiving, all that stuff. Lo and behold, I got out of the plane before JR, just again, pecking order. And you walk into the little terminal that we have, and Chief is standing there waiting for JR.
No kidding.
Yeah, JR was kind of blown away, too.
Oh, wow.
He got off there, and he was like, whoa. He's like, yeah, I didn't. And he's like, no, it's good. It's fine.
That doesn't. I'm glad you told that story, but not all head coaches are like that. And I'm not even being critical. I'm just stating not all of them are like that. Chief is probably the most media friendly coach I have ever come across.
Oh yeah,
and he's a stand up dude.
And he tells it like it is. He doesn't need anything from us. He just tells it like it is. And that doesn't surprise me at all. That's a great story. All right. That's Fastline on 101 ESPN. Again, Chief joining us at 4:30 today. College football playoff. There seems to be some confusion. Maybe we can clarify some things, but the big question is, if Alabama beats Georgia, could both teams get in? Could there be 2 SEC teams in? Could there be 0 SEC teams in if Alabama wins? We'll get into that next on 101 ESPN. college football playoff, the committee did some things that has caused some consternation, Jamie, some teeth gnashing. People don't understand why Ohio State's ranked ahead of teams like Texas. Jamie, you hit it earlier. It's because they lost the number 2 team in the nation in Michigan. That's
quite
the
honestly,
reason.
I think Michigan should be ranked number 1 right now.
Here's where I think that...
Do you have any argument with that?
That Michigan's number 1?
Should be number 1.
Yeah, because...
Georgia narrowly beat a couple of teams here recently, and Michigan has blown the doors off everybody.
Okay, so...
Including a number 3 or number 2 seed at the time, Ohio State.
I'm glad you brought this up, because this is where I think we complicate things. We get into the how much did they win by? Did they blow them out?
That's a crap sandwich, right?
The Florida State.
I'm glad you brought this up because we think about that. So just say it. You are preoccupied with this.
No, I've done this too. I think we get too far into the weeds.
All right, go ahead.
The Florida State Jordan Travis situation is a perfect example of this. So for those that don't follow college football that closely, or maybe you're just kind of tuned in right now, Jordan Travis was the starting quarterback for Florida State. Got a nasty leg injury 2 weeks ago, and he's out for the year. Florida State now is that team that's unbeaten, that people feel as though without Jordan Travis shouldn't be in the college football playoff, even if they beat Louisville in the ACC title game this weekend, because they're not one of the top 4 teams in the nation. Guys, it has never been about who the committee feels is the top 4 teams in the nation. They may say that, but they act differently. Don't listen to what they say. Follow what they do.
That seems fraudulent.
Jamie, this committee...
This is the NCAA. Since when did it get to be crooked and sideways?
Well, fortunately, it's not. Or else it'd be real sideways.
If TCU and Cincinnati can make it to the college football playoff, Florida State, an undefeated team,
oh, there you go,
should absolutely make it.
You bite your tongue on Cincinnati.
With the janitor
you
under
bite
center.
your tongue on Cincinnati, okay? That team was well led.
Oh, why? Because your favorite NFL team was their quarterback? You don't even like that guy.
No, you don't at all.
You don't like him at all.
Hey, in fairness, I like him like every other throw.
I know what it is.
What?
You like Sauce Gardner, and that's why the Jets are number 10.
Exactly.
In the
Thank you.
Stalter Stackup.
Exactly.
That makes
Yes.
more sense now.
Anyways, the committee, and I've said this the entire time, the committee has all been about resumes. It has been about who did you beat in the top 25. Well, that team's no longer ranked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's where they were ranked when you play them. They lost. Their win it doesn't look as good now. Doesn't matter. We tend to complicate this. It is about resume. How many top 25 teams did you beat on your schedule? If you have a loss, did you lose to Miami of Ohio or did you lose to Michigan? Is it a quote-unquote good loss? That's all that matters. So,
if it's a good loss, how did they get dropped right out of that thing? Just because they're not undefeated anymore?
Because of the number of victories against top 25 teams. That's number 1. Number 2 is if you have a loss, how bad or good is that loss, quote unquote. Ohio State has wins, top 25, against Notre Dame, Penn State, and that's it. Dose. They will not make the college football playoff.
Who won't?
No, Ohio State. They will not.
I'm okay with that.
We don't have to worry about the old Buckeyes.
Anyways.
Yeah, Ryan Day.
He's a little white.
2 wins against top 25 opponents for Ohio State. That's it. They have no more games left. They're done. So Anthony, they had to beat Michigan.
Let me ask you this, because I'm hyper focused on Florida State right now, and for good reason. Okay, how does the committee sit there and go, okay, they won last week barely, by the way, against a Gators team that was, I think, under 500. I think they're 5-6 at the time.
Yeah, still won though.
They still won. But how can you say if they're sitting there to pick the top 4 teams? There's no way that Florida State team is better than Oregon right now. There's no way.
It's about resume. It's not about the top 20. It's not.
But, okay, it's about the resume. What about the quarterback's resume?
Doesn't matter.
Bo Nix is the best freaking quarterback in the damn Pac-12.
I'm telling you, this is how they do it.
And you got Florida State, who has the Gardner under center.
It's not fair to that kid.
He might be good next year.
He could be the next Cardell Jones, though. You never know.
Or he could not be.
Okay.
You know?
Fair. It's probably more likely.
Here's how Florida State does not get in. Okay.
But if they win, they have to be in.
Not necessarily. They would only have 3 wins against top 25
teams. They'd still be undefeated.
Is that a better resume than Oregon if they beat Washington?
Isn't there the Cincinnati argument? One of those two teams is undefeated. So, well, they're undefeated. We have to put them in.
Right, Cincinnati.
How'd that work out?
How do you keep an undefeated team, though, out of the college football playoff?
They would only have three wins against top 25
when
teams.
There's only 4 undefeated teams. How do you keep one of those 4? By the way, it's 4 teams to make the playoffs. How do you keep that one team out?
Because they don't have a better resume than Oregon.
Crap. Why don't you just be honest for a second?
I am being honest.
That the committee would actually take into consideration that their quarterback is not up to par.
Florida State got dropped in the rankings despite winning a game. Everybody thought it was about the quarterback. It wasn't. It was about Washington beating Oregon State, which gave them another win over a top 25 team.
I like your attitude.
You don't have to like my attitude. You never like my attitude. I'm still speaking the truth right now.
Are you?
Here's a question.
I don't like his attitude. That's fine.
For some weird reason.
Yeah.
This will not happen. I'll give it a 99.9% chance that this will not happen. If Michigan loses to Iowa.
They will not. Go ahead.
Exactly.
There's no chance in hell.
Are they out of the college football playoffs?
Of course. Yes.
Because of how bad Iowa is? I mean, they're not bad, but they're not good.
No, they would have 2 wins against top 25 teams. No conference title. You wouldn't have the resume. You beat Penn State and Ohio State. That's it. Michigan would absolutely be out. Yes. That was the problem with Ohio State this year. When people keep talking about, well, Ohio State could still sneak in because, no, they can't. They've got 2 wins against top 25 teams this year. That's it. They do not have a more impressive resume than Oregon or Washington, who also would have a one loss if Washington loses in the Pac-12 title game.
But I still don't understand why Texas is below Ohio State when they have 3 top 25 wins.
It's the records against ranked teams and losses.
No, it's your point earlier about who they lost to.
Yeah, who they lost to.
They lost to Michigan. They weren't going to drop them that far.
Sidetracked because I'm about to argue with somebody on the text line.
What are you going to argue?
Said, Rivers, relax. Penix is the best Pac-12 QB. No, he's not.
If you listen to the Gauntlet yesterday, you know that Bo Nix leads the Pac-12 in yards.
Penix is awesome, and so is Bo Nix.
You're welcome, 314.
Here's how I see everything playing out.
Filthy animal.
Pac-12 title game. Oregon over Washington, okay? Oregon. I got Oregon over Washington on Friday night in the Pac-12 title game. I got Texas over Oklahoma State in the Big 12 matchup.
Me too.
I still think Georgia, I know a lot of people are on Alabama. I've got to make I have rooted for kind of the chaos, and I know that Marsh does not like Alabama.
Please don't do this to me.
I kept dropping in hey, don't forget about Bama. Don't forget about that. It is now, though, time, because the SEC title game's on Saturday afternoon. It's time for me to make a declaration on this.
Here we go.
I am not going with the chaos. I do think Georgia wins, and that would effectively eliminate Alabama.
I mean, you can't go against the Vikings and pick Alabama in
I won't do
a
that
span
to you.
of 2 weeks.
I feel like you paid your penance there on the Dobbs situation.
I feel like Nick Saban watched that last Georgia game against Georgia Tech and started to giggle as he constructed the game plan to knock off Georgia.
Saban?
Yes.
Yeah.
It took a Hail Mary to beat Auburn, though.
It did. I don't think Alabama is. Jalen Milroe's turned this season around. He's looked very good since the second half against Tennessee. But they've beaten LSU, who doesn't play defense. They've beaten Kentucky, who was better in the first half this year than the second half. They beat Chattanooga, and then they barely beat an Auburn team that is average.
Why are you playing Chattanooga late in the year?
Because that's how they do it.
Guys,
Georgia's going to beat Bama.
I have Bama.
Louisville. Okay.
I do.
We'll get into that.
Damn it.
Louisville.
Jamie's been right a lot this year.
He has been. He's on top of being the baseball guy. He's a football guy. Louisville is going to beat Florida State. The Florida State conversation is going to be over with by about 11 o'clock on Saturday night.
I don't think so.
I got Louisville beating Florida State.
Where the hell's Louisville ranked?
They're not.
They're
They're 10th.
No, they're 14th.
Okay, whatever.
I'm looking at it. You don't have to call me out. I'm looking at it.
Well,
He's so pissy
I don't care where they're ranked. They're going to upset Florida State.
I was trying to give you the bad. I didn't even think they were ranked. I was like, this team's terrible. And you get all mad.
Your college football playoff. You ready for it? It's going to be Georgia. It's going to be Michigan. It's going to be Oregon. And it's going to be Texas.
Good.
I don't see Texas getting there, man. I'm sorry. I think you're sniffing the funny stuff.
Let's look at Texas's resume real quick. We got to get to the Gauntlet, but let's look at Texas's resume.
I don't care. I just don't think they're going to get there.
They've got a win over Alabama. Kansas, Kansas State, and a win over Oklahoma State this weekend in the Big 12 title game. That's 4.
Just don't think they'll get
That's 4. Their losses to Oklahoma was ranked 12th.
Anthony?
Good loss. Either that or it could be Washington. I could see Washington getting in with a loss.
But what's more compelling, though?
I don't know about that.
Do these ranking people, do they...
Drink? Yes.
Well, yes, but do they look at what matchup would be more compelling?
They might.
I think they have to. I'd rather see Texas play Georgia than Georgia play Washington.
Well, that's what's going to happen, Marsh. Washington, by the way, win over Oregon, win over USC, win over Utah, win over Oregon State. I'm telling you right now, Washington is not eliminated with a loss. Forget Ohio State. They're done. Washington wouldn't be eliminated. But my 4 is going to be Oregon, Texas, Georgia, and Michigan once Louisville upsets Florida State. There will be an upset this weekend. Maybe Jamie's right and it's Bama. I'm calling the Louisville one. Marsh, what do you got in the upset? Call it, Marsh.
I think Oregon beats Washington.
They're a 9,
I'm not even sure
they're
if that's
a 9.5 point favorite.
Yeah, but like if we're looking at the rankings.
I'm talking about a legit upset.
Like, just, come on.
Florida State. They lose.
Okay. All right.
It's a good pick.
So you're with me.
Yes.
I don't think you're really with me. I just don't think you're with Jamie.
I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens. I don't want Alabama beating Georgia.
Roll Tide.
All right.
Marshy, say it.
Stop
Roll
it.
Tide.
All right. Kyle is back for the Gauntlet next on 101 ESPN.
Master the Gauntlet.
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
4:05, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler, with Jamie Rivers and Andrew Marsh. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome back Kyle for round 2 of the Gauntlet Playoffs. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Doing good, although I hear you're kind of upset with Jamie, huh?
What the hell's going on, Kyle?
Come on, man. Alabama, they look like trash with Auburn. That's the Yankees of college football.
Dude, I can't stand Bama either, but I think they're going to beat Georgia.
Man, I was telling Jamie on the phone. I was like, I normally agree with most of the things you say, but that just took you down a few notches.
Nah, I don't blame you. I self-reflect every night, and I'm disappointed in the man I see in the mirror, too.
Well, you've been right with a lot of. I think I was more upset because you've been more correct than wrong this year, and I really want them to lose.
All right, Kyle. I hear you.
All right, Kyle, since you beat Carrie, who was filling in for Jamie,
Marsh, out there, Kyle.
Me and Marsh are the two that are left for your opponent. Now, you already picked baseball, correct?
I want to lie and say no, but yeah, I did.
Okay.
I want to say
Thanks for your honesty. So, what category would you like to go with today?
Football.
All right, football is the category. It'll be either Marsh or me, and it'll probably be Marsh.
He's good. I don't know. You both are good
He's
at
solid,
it.
yeah. Marsh is good
I've
at
been
it.
bad, though, in the playoffs.
No, you haven't,
All right,
Marsh.
well, let's hope for Marsh then.
All right, Kyle, tell Marsh to spin the wheel.
Spin it, buddy.
All right, here we go. The wheel has been spun. It'll be between me and Marsh.
The suspense is killing me.
Yep, it's going to be Marsh.
It's Marshy
It's going to be Marsh. I figured that. Okay, so it will be Marsh. Category will be football. Marsh is handing us the launch codes right now. Then he's going to make his way into the cone of silence. Thank you, Marsh. All right, Kyle, as you know, you're going to get 4 questions. Marsh is going to get the same 4 questions. Each question is worth 2 points unless you need the options. And if you do, you get that question right, it'll be worth 1 point instead of 2. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, Kyle. Question 1. Who was the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl? Who was the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl?
Last NFC team. All right, so we've got, I know the Chiefs won last year. We've got, oh, man, it's been a while, hasn't it? It wasn't the Buccaneers. Was it Buccaneers? I think it was the Rams. They're still in the NFC after they moved. Yeah, I'm going to go Rams. Final answer.
All right, Kyle, question number 2. Which New England Patriots running back sealed the victory with a touchdown run in the only Super Bowl to ever go to overtime?
Go to overtime. Yeah, can I have the options there?
Yeah, was it Rex Burkhead, Sonny Michel, or James White?
Oh, man. I'm going to, we'll go James White.
Final answer?
No, but yeah, it is.
Okay.
Question 3, Kyle. The only time the Texas Longhorns lost a game this season was against which opponent?
All right, well, I think they upset, what was it, Alabama? And you're talking about this year, right?
Yes. So Texas has one loss this season. Who was that against?
I don't want to do that. Was it Oklahoma? Was it Kansas? Oklahoma or Kansas? I'm going to go Oklahoma.
Final answer?
Oklahoma, Kansas. Yeah, Oklahoma.
All right, Kyle, question number 4. Despite not finishing in the top 10, name the team that scored the most points on offense in college football this season.
And they're not in the top 10, you said?
That is correct.
For the most points, not in the top 10. But they can still be ranked, right?
Yes, just not in the top 10.
Okay. Well, we know Washington's in the top 10. We know Ohio State's in the top. Michigan's in the top 10. Oregon's in the top 10. I'm trying to list them off in my head. I'm sorry if I'm taking too long.
That's all right.
So I'm fine. Anthony's angry.
I'm not.
They ain't doing it.
Jamie lies.
I'm going to go LSU.
Right.
LSU. Yeah, final answer.
Okay. All right. How you feeling, Kyle?
Well, I'm going to ask a question now that I'm done. Is LSU's quarterback, is he one of the Heisman candidates?
We can't tell you. Oh, Anthony, come on. We just had more fun with Kyle.
Yeah, all right. I feel better now. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah,
Jamie, you shush.
Oh, man. Marshy's walking back in here. So no more talking about game plans.
Yes, sir.
All right, here he is. He's got his Lindenwood Lions T-shirt on. He's got that fresh cut. Chugging back some water. Looks determined. He's got a little bracelet on. I don't know what it says, but I'm sure it's important.
Just win, baby. That's what it says. Huge Al Davis fan. All right, Marsh, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know your category is football. Jamie?
Oh, pack a lunch, buddy.
Question number 1. Who was the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl?
The last NFC team to win the Super Bowl. Okay, last year, Kansas City won, and then the year before that, the Los Angeles Rams won. So I'm going to go with the LA Rams. Final answer.
All right. Marshy, question 2. Which New England Patriots running back sealed the victory with a touchdown run in the only Super Bowl to ever go to overtime?
Oh, goodness, who was it? Sonny. Sony Michel. Final answer.
Question number 3. The only time the Texas Longhorns lost a game this season was against which opponent?
The Oklahoma Sooners. Final answer.
Final question. Question number 4. Despite not finishing in the top 10, name the team that scored the most points on offense in college football this season.
Okay, so can you read that one more time?
Yep. Despite not finishing in the top 10, so they're not top 10 ranked, name the team that scored the most points in all of college football.
Man, Jalen Daniels has had some ridiculous numbers this year. So that's leading me towards LSU. And I know they're not in the top 10. So I'm going to go, and their defense stinks, which means they'll have to score a lot of points to win some of those games. I'm going to go with LSU. Final answer.
Okay, here we go. Kyle versus Marsh, round 2. We've only had one contestant advance to the 3rd round. Will Kyle make it 2? Or does Marsh pick up his first Gauntlet playoff victory? Have you won yet?
I can check.
Okay. Question number 1. Who was the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl? Kyle, you said the Rams. Marsh, you said the Rams. Correct answer is...
Yeah, it's the Rams.
It's the Rams over the Bengals. Neither of you needed the option, so we have a 2-2 tie. Question 3. The only time the Texas Longhorns lost a game this season was against which opponent? Kyle, you debated between Kansas and Oklahoma. You settled on Oklahoma. Marsh, you knew it right away. In fact, we just kind of talked about this. You said Oklahoma as well. Correct answer is... Oklahoma. Neither of you needed the options. So we have a 4-4 tie. Despite not finishing in the top 10, name the team that scored the most points on offense in college football this season. Marsh, you said LSU because of Jaden Daniels. Kyle, you said LSU. Correct answer is...
Go Tigers. LSU.
Wow. Neither of you needed the options for that one. So we have a 6 tie. It comes down to this. Which New England Patriots running back sealed the victory with a touchdown run in the only Super Bowl to ever go to overtime? Kyle, you used the options. The options were Rex Burkhead, James White, or Sonny Michel. Kyle, you said James White. Marsh, you said Sonny Michel. If it's Rex Burkhead, we've got a walk-off. If it's Sonny Michel, Marsh wins. If it's James White, Kyle wins. Jamie, which Patriot running back sealed the victory on a clear hold on Deion Jones in overtime to win the Patriots the Super Bowl?
Sony Michel had a heck of a season, but it was James White.
Wow. Kyle.
You have chosen wisely.
Kyle, you won it on that one. You guys tied it on every other question. You didn't need the options on any of them except for that one. And it was the one you won. You won 7-6 over March today in an epic Gauntlet playoff victory. Nice job, man.
Oh, 100% guess on the running back.
Hey, it's okay. That's, guessed right. That's the only thing that matters.
That was good.
So, Kyle, you have survived and you have advanced. So you'll take on me at some point, I think next week, right?
It could be this week.
As we wrap things up. How many people have left to go for round two?
So tomorrow we'll have Aaron. He is our last listener for round two. And if he wins, then we'll have 3 because Mike already moved on.
Okay, so we have Mike and Kyle right now.
Mike and Kyle.
Wow. All right, Kyle, we'll talk to you soon. Congrats.
Hey, guys, tell Mike he's got nothing.
Wow. Mike's probably listening right now.
Wow. Holy smokes. All right.
Can't
Good
say
job,
that I hate
Kyle.
it.
See you, Kyle.
Pay-per-view coming.
All right, thanks, fellas. Go Georgia.
All right, we've got What's Trending next on 101 ESPN.
What's trending in the world of sports? The Fast Lane has you covered. What's trending now?
Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate to Goodwill to win a magical Polar Express staycation.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, I'm Andrew Marsh, and it is time for What's Trending. Guys, we talked about this earlier in the show, but it looks like the Rays are shopping Randy Arozarena, and there's a good chance that he could be moved, sources tell MLB Nerds. Thoughts on this? Could Randy A be a Cardinal? Again, another reunion, or is this just a pipe dream?
Jamie asked a very important question earlier, and that is why. Why is he available? Because if, Marsh, and you had brought this up, if he has years left on his deal or arbitration, why would the Rays be so willing to give him up? Tyler Glasnow makes sense because there's only one more year left, and the Rays don't pay anybody. Last time they paid somebody, now they're paying him to go away. So if Randy Arozarena still has multiple years left on his contract, or again, arbitration process, then why are they so willing to give him up right now?
I don't know.
Something doesn't add up here.
I don't know. You're right. Like, it makes no sense at all because they're really not paying him yet. Like, they are, but they're not.
Right.
So why would they shop him so soon?
They liked him in St. Louis, clearly. They liked him from the They got him from the Cardinals. He has been fantastic for them. So why now? Either the report is inaccurate or something is going on here where the Rays feel as though that he's not going to be worth the money long term, or
maybe they see a trend downwards, that he's trending downwards and his value
but still
is the highest it will be.
Right. Either way, I don't like it.
That's not a bad thought.
I don't like it. So I'm going to pass. If the Rays don't want him, neither do I.
I don't know if I don't want him. I want him. What do they want in return? Like Taylor Motter? Sold.
No.
But then are you worried that Taylor Motter becomes Scott Rowland?
I would.
What if they ask for Dylan Carlson?
Yes.
Yeah, but are you sure? Are you sure?
Wouldn't that be the ultimate conundrum?
Tyler O'Neill. Then he goes and he's Mr. Baseball.
That one I don't even care about. Like,
then he goes and gets 40 dingers. No, plays a full season. Although I take that back because he can't play on turf.
No, correct.
I'm serious.
What if it was Dylan Carlson?
I mean, I'd make the deal just clenching my teeth. Right? Because you're like, well, I know this is going to be painful.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I don't know how you're screwing me, but you're screwing me, Rays. I know it.
Don't know.
Yeah. What else you got, Mark?
A lot of people are calling the NFL the No Fun League. They've been doing that for a while. I saw today that a content creator that goes by the name K Fitz, if you guys remember, Tyreek Hill scored a touchdown against the Carolina Panthers, took a phone in the end zone and did a backflip with it. Well, that content creator is getting suspended for the entire year for giving Tyreek Hill the phone and, jumping around on the sidelines. It turns out that he has been creating content for Tyreek Hill and other NFL players for a few years now, and now he lost his job because of that.
Well, my question would be,
what are your thoughts on that?
So it sounds like it was set up then.
It was not set up.
How do we know?
But if he was creating content for Tyreek Hill, unless I'm misunderstanding.
So he was hired by the Dolphins to do video work at all home games. He is a student at Miami. And
he's a student?
He's a student.
Okay, come on. One, if you're the Dolphins, take care of the kid. Two, NFL, lighten up. Come on.
Well, and that generated so much buzz around the NFL. Like, people nowadays, they want to see fun stuff.
Yeah. I think it's stupid. It's just another Look, when's the last time Roger Goodell has ever truly had a pulse of like his fans or like anything for that matter?
He's always reactionary. He's reactionary with his discipline. He's reactionary with just the outrage that happens over certain things that the league, implements. He's always been reactionary.
Do you think all the commissioners of every, major sports league are all kind of out of touch with their fan base? I'd say the exception is maybe
outside of
Adam Silver.
Adam Silver, thank you, of the NBA. Mm-hmm. But Adam Silver is more. I think he's the most player friendly commissioner. So typically fans will side with the players.
Right.
They'll side with the millionaires over the billionaires. Mm-hmm. So I think he's the closest one to maybe having a pulse on the direction of the league and the young, athletes and the young fans. Everybody else, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Rob Manfred he doesn't have a pulse on anything. No. He doesn't have a pulse on how he impacts baseball fans when he's speaking down to them. So it's definitely not him.
Oh, good thing Gary Bettman and the NHL are getting into NFTs now.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're in 2021.
Welcome to the party, Gary. My God. And then the NHL, don't get me started. The whole Marc-Andre Fleury thing, I get it. The NHL took a stance on not having any personal agendas anymore.
Is it with the mask?
Yeah, so they banned, or not banned, they have just said we don't support or whatever. We're not supporting personal agendas, so the pride tape and all that and the other things, fine, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever. But then Marc-Andre Fleury has a Native American mask that somebody made, and his wife is part Native American. He wanted to wear it for warm-up. The NHL's like, no, you can't wear that, or we're going to fine you. So Marc-Andre Fleury goes, fine, go ahead, fine me. Then they said, well, yeah, but we're going to fine Minnesota Wild, too, because they'll be mad at you then if you wear the mask. And Billy Guerin said, go ahead and wear the mask.
Yeah. We'll foot the bill.
And there's no bill to be foot. There's no rule.
Yeah.
There's no rule in anywhere where it says you can't do that. So even the guys who were using the pride tape, like I forget who, Travis Dermott, was it earlier this year? He did it anyways. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, ooh, I wonder what's going to happen. Well, nothing, because there's nothing written in the bylaws. Right. You can't fine a guy for something that doesn't exist. Yeah. But it just shows you how tone deaf Gary Bettman is. Why don't you just let the guys do what they want? Like, somebody had a great idea. PJ Stock, former fighter in the NHL, was a teammate of mine, was a line mate of mine in Boston. And he just was on a podcast recently, and he just said, why doesn't the NHL have one night a year where all teams are playing? Every single team is playing. And for warm-ups, the players can pick their own cause and wear a jersey for that cause for warm-up, and then auction off all the different jerseys for those particular charities, or whatever you're doing. Yeah. So if you want it to be pride, great. Go ahead. Native Americans, go ahead. Cancer, breast cancer, whatever it is that's important to you, we're going to give you the platform for one game and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, I like it. Craig Berube is going to join us next. We'll chat with the Chief following last night's loss, dive into some of the things that he is seeing right now with his team. Craig Berube next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues took on the Wild last night and lost by a final score of 3-1. They'll be taking on the Sabres tomorrow. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We will be joined by Blues head coach Craig Berube coming up next, so stay tuned right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Time now for Chatting with the Chief with the coach of your St. Louis Blues, Craig Berube. Brought to you by Fisher Window and Door, your Marvin dealer with showrooms in Brentwood and East Alton, Illinois.
With Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. Let's head to our 101 ESPN Celebrity Line. We're joined by Craig Berube, the head coach of your St. Louis Blues. Each and every week we chat with the Chief, and we're going to do so right now. Coach, how you doing today?
Good, guys. How are you?
Doing pretty good today. Last night, obviously not the result that you're looking for or your players are looking for. One of the things that Jamie and I have been talking about today is the offensive zone time or lack thereof. What typically contributes to a lack of ozone time for a team?
Well, it varies, I think. I think our ozone times have been good going into that game, to be honest with you. But last night, I didn't find that we were on pucks very good last night. Our forecheck was not there last night, so that's a big part of it for sure. But I just felt like our team lacked a lot of energy last night in that game. A lot of travel lately and home for one, back on the road again. I think it caught up with us last night. That's how I felt with our team energy-wise, and it's hard when you don't have the energy. That was an energized team. They got a new coach, and they played well. They played a solid game, and we had a chance. I mean, it was 2-1. We had a 4-minute power play in the third period, and we didn't capitalize on it.
Gee, it's funny you brought up the travel because I actually had written it down here in my notes. And, you're traveling, you're out of town, you're back in quickly. There's the holiday included. Then you've got the dad's trip that's piggybacked on all this stuff. Obviously, it wears guys down. As a coaching staff or just a staff in general, because I know the trainers and everybody come into it at the same time, how do you guys manage that?
Well, it's hard. I mean, you can't control the schedule, right? So, I mean, it's just rest, trying to get rest and, do what you can with the players. I mean, it's a tough situation. This is those you're going to have those games and those times. So you got to play smart. You got to, I thought our goalie did a great job of keeping us in the game last night and give us a chance. But like I said, we didn't capitalize on it. I didn't think we played very smart in the game either.
Coach, transitioning to your power play, the first two power plays, it looked like you guys were snapping around pretty good. That 4-minute one, though, there was only, I think, one shot that was taken. How does that happen on a 4-minute power play?
Well, we didn't exactly. We didn't execute very well on it. We didn't take the shots that were available, I didn't think. We didn't have a shot mindset going into that 4-minute power play, and, that was the wrong thought process. 4-minute power play, we need to put a ton of pressure on them, shoot puck, recover them, just create time, create chaos. And I didn't think we did that, our power plays in that 4-minute stretch.
Coach, you moved Jake Neighbors up in the lineup a couple of games ago, the first full game against the Blackhawks. It went pretty well. And last night, to your point, maybe not a lot of energy, a bit of a tough game for everyone overall. Just the experiment for you overall with Jake Neighbors playing up there with Thomas and Buchnevich. Have you liked it so far?
Yeah, I have. I think that Jake's a good complement to that line right now. He's getting in on pucks, creating stalls for them guys. They're getting opportunities, not as many as I wanted last night, but overall it's been good.
Coach, when you talk about your power play, and not to to beat a dead horse on this one, but unfortunately, it's been a topic of conversation. I'm sure it's been a big topic for you guys in the coaches' room and in the dressing room. But how do you proceed with this? You obviously can't keep things identical all the time, but how do you work on which guys will be where and maybe changing the mindset? Like you said, you got a bunch of guys maybe that don't want to shoot the puck. How do you change that?
Well, we've been moving guys around, and if you look at our power plays this last segment, I think 10 games, we're 5th in the league in grade A's on it. So that's a good sign. We're getting chances, and they're grade A chances, which is what you want in a power play. So I think we just got to stick with it. You got to just keep banging away at it. Like, we put Jake Neighbors in front of the net. I think he's done a good job there. Moving guys around here and there. I put Kyrou on that unit in that 4-minute power play for a bit. So I'm just trying to move guys around, and, we just got to keep banging away at it. Eventually, I think they'll start going in if we keep creating those grade A's.
It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. We're chatting with the Chief here, Craig Berube here on 101 ESPN. What is that one of the messages too for you and the coaching staff? I mean, last night you had one opportunity at the crossbar. You've had plenty of times where you hit the post in a game where it's like, hey, this could be 2-1 or 2-0 in our advantage, as opposed to we're either trailing or we're even going into the second period. Is that one of your messages as a coaching staff when you're talking to players where they're not maybe getting the results, but the process is there just to keep on going and stay consistent?
Well, it's part of it, and then there's other things that we can do better too. Like Jordan Kyrou, eventually he's going to start scoring. He's getting chances. Like he's had a ton of opportunities this year. It's just not going in, but he's got to get on the inside a little bit more. And excuse me, it's like a lot of our guys when the puck's not going in the net. You got to do something different. You got to get on the inside a little bit more, create some chances around the net, second and third opportunities, things like that. Can't be all on the outside.
Chief, last night, just watching the game in the second period, obviously the Wild came with a huge push. They had the puck in the offensive zone for a large portion of that period. But when you guys did get the puck, it looked like you guys had a tendency of going, side to side with the puck rather than trying to get it up the ice and just, try to create some kind of a forecheck or offensive zone time. What do you tell the players in that case? How do you help them identify the situation?
Well, we got away from our structure. Like it's north, not east-west, and that's north, chip the space, flashing through, creating those opportunities, and we didn't do that. We wanted easy ice last night, and that's not going to work. I mean, there's times that it will work, but for the most part, it's not going to work, especially against a team like that. They were dialed in. They were covering over us really well. So you got to chip the space. You got to battle. It's going to be one of those games, and we didn't do that last night, and that's why we got beat.
Back here for one against Buffalo tomorrow night. It's kind of the same. That's not the same identically because last time you had the holiday too before the Nashville game. But back to our conversation about kind of being on the road, coming back for one, being on the road. Now you're back for one. How do you make sure these guys are ready to go tomorrow night? Because it's a big home game.
Yeah, it's a huge home game. We'll be ready to go. I'm not too worried about that. I think they're back home. They had a day off today. They're rested. They'll be coming out. They'll be rested tomorrow. And, listen, it's just mental right now. It's a mental grind right now. Each player's got to understand that, and they got to battle through that grind.
Coach, we always appreciate your time and your insights. We thank you, and we'll talk to you again next week. Have a good rest of your week.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
It's Coach Craig Berube here in the Fast Lane on 101 at ESPN. There's always stuff that, are unearthed or is unearthed when we talk to Chief. And sometimes it's just, he's point blank with it. And
well, it's funny for me how, a lot of times, even myself, I get caught up in the walls are caving in. Mm-hmm. And then, Chief kind of, it's his job to stay, calm in those situations. But what he's saying does make sense. And he is, he's obviously correct because, he's got the information at his disposal. But the Blues have led in high danger scoring opportunities in the last 10 games. Now, would it be nice to put them in the net? Of course it would. But it's way worse if you're not getting those opportunities. And they didn't get a high danger chance on that 4-minute, but still, sometimes the walls aren't necessarily caving in. It just looks that way or feels that way.
Yeah. It's Jamie Rivers tomorrow night. Blues, Sabres pregame, 6 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. It's the Fast Lane, and we have our Sports Six-Pack in 15 minutes. If you want to start sending in your questions to the Air Comfort Service text line at 314-399-9646. Again, the Sports Six-Pack will be about 15, 20 minutes. I want to talk about this, though. This is an interesting question. If you take away Sonny Gray, who's the most important pitcher for the Cardinals this upcoming season? That's next on 101 ESPN.
Skip the malls this month with Johnny Londoff Chevrolet. They've still got their Black Friday sale going on. So you can get there to either location, whether it's the Florissant, Missouri location or the Londoff Autoplex located out in St. Peters, or visit them at londoff.com. You can do all of that online at 24/7. And one thing I can tell you is that their entire pre-owned inventory of cars, trucks, and SUVs are priced to sell with financing available for everybody. No matter what your credit situation is, Londoff Chevrolet is there to help you. And if you or anyone you know is in the market for a new or a pre-owned vehicle, now, right now is the time to buy. Why wait any longer when you can save right now with Londoff Chevrolet? Here are a few examples of what they have available. The 2020 Ford Escape, $22,578. How about a 2018 Subaru Legacy to $19,800? Johnny Londoff has a massive amount of inventory, as well as the 2024 Chevy Trax that are arriving daily. So please don't hesitate to get into either location. Please tell them that Jamie Rivers sent you in. But again, if you can't get there in person, get there online at londoff.com or londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Johnny Londoff Chevrolet.
Who's the most important pitcher for the Cardinals not named Sonny Gray? Jamie? Who's your guy?
Wow. I think for me, it's Miles Michaelis. Because what are you, Miles Michaelis? Are you a number 4? Are you number 3? Can you punch up, get to be a number 2?
Mm-hmm.
He's the guy that, for me, 2 seasons ago, you were like, yeah, he's a number 2. He's a number 2. We don't have Jack Flaherty maybe could be a number 1. We don't have an ace. And this going back, think back. This is what we're saying.
Yeah.
We didn't get that from Miles Michaelis last year. And it's not just him. A lot of guys didn't do it. But Miles Michaelis was kind of your horse that you were leaning on, not named Adam Wainwright.
Right.
And so I think that the most important guy here is Miles Michaelis, a bounce back. You could easily say Lance Lynn or Kyle Gibson because, they're kind of in the same boat. But Gibby had a pretty good year last year. A lot of innings pitched and did a pretty good job. Lance Lynn, the only real downside to him was the home runs he gave up. Otherwise he's an innings eater, and I'm pretty confident that those 2 guys are going to be okay. But for me, it's Miles Michaelis. He's my guy. I think he's the most important guy.
I think the answer is Miles Michaelis. I think it has to be. If I were to play devil's advocate, what about Steven Matz? Just from the standpoint of if the guy can stay healthy, he is somebody that has pitched well.
Yeah. I've already moved on, though.
Or he can be transitioned into the bullpen, and if he's in the pen, now he strengthens another area that has been a weakness or was a weakness for you last year. Again, I think the answer is Miles Michaelis.
For Steven Matz, I've already moved on. We talked about that earlier in the show. I've moved on. Zach Thompson, it's his spot to lose now. Because you're looking at a young guy who, in my opinion, not probably, I think he has more upside than Steven Matz. He's certainly cheaper, and he pitched more regularly last year. He was available. How about that? So for me, it's his. I wouldn't say that to the young man. Internally, I'd be thinking it's his spot to lose because I can't depend on Steven Matz. So I don't view him as like the most important guy. Can he bolster my bullpen? Yeah, if he's invested.
If he's available.
If he's available, that's an even better word. Yeah. So I would agree with that.
Marsh, who's your guy?
If we're looking at just all of the pitchers, not specifically in the rotation, I think Ryan Helsley's that guy. Can he stay healthy? And can he pitch more than one day if you need him multiple days in a row?
Yeah, that's a good one.
And we need the bullpen to be way better than what it was last year. And I think it starts with Ryan Helsley in the back part of your bullpen.
Are you guys okay if the Cardinals go internal options for the pen?
We should be, because I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, I don't mind that strategy. I think too often teams get into trouble when they throw a bunch of money around at relievers. Bullpens, and this is the case for all bullpens everywhere, they're volatile. From year to year, they can change dramatically. You can have a bullpen that's lights out one season, and then the following season you can have a lot of the same guys, and the bullpen is crap. The reverse could occur as well. Now, would I be interested in some of the guys that are available? 1-year deal, 2-year deal, sure. But the Brett Cecil contract was not just a one-off. I think it's a microcosm of a lot of teams get into trouble when they start shelling out big-time bucks for relievers. It soaks up some of your budget or some of your salary allotment, and you just don't know what you're going to get. Plus, they're the most readily available commodity at the deadline. There's going to be relievers that are going to be available at the deadline.
And who's out there? Who's out there that really tickles your fancy?
Joe Kelly.
Well, yeah, okay, but what's he going to command?
I don't think much at this point. I mean,
but that's my point.
Maybe he commands something higher for like 1 year, but
tell me what you think high is.
I don't know.
What's your definition of a high salary?
For a reliever?
For a Joe Kelly.
Let's see what he made last year so I don't completely talk out of my rear end like I normally do. So last year, let's see here. Last season with the Dodgers, he made $3.1 million. The previous year, he made 7. I was going to say for a reliever on a 1-year deal, about 7 or 8's too much. So
it's too much for Joe Kelly right now. I love Joe Kelly. I'm a huge fan. You know that.
Yeah, you get. But if you were to give
$4 million,
if you were to give Joe Kelly even like 5 or 5.5, I on a 1-year deal to come in, a dude that's well liked here, well liked in the clubhouse, and pitches well. And I probably have those things flipped. I should have those things flipped. He pitches well, and he's well liked, and he's good in the clubhouse and all that. I think that would be a perfect fit. That'd be great. It would be great to see. If you're interested in bringing back more former Cardinals, why don't you add Joe Kelly to the list?
Sandpaper, too.
Absolutely.
For your locker room and for your pitching mound.
Yes.
He's not afraid.
Now 10 mil over like 3 or 4 years? 10 mil a year for over 3 or 4? No.
How healthy has he been, though? Because I feel like he's been injured for like a few times here in the last year or two, like to where you're like he's unavailable.
So he missed 32 days with an arm injury last season. He also missed 17 days. So it's not games, it's days. Could be, figured out the amount of games. 17 due to an elbow injury last year. And also missed some time. Boy, you were right. He missed 15 days with a groin injury, 17 days with an elbow injury, and 32 days with an arm injury.
Yeah.
So he missed some time last year.
And he's an aging player. I don't know if it's $5 million anymore.
No.
I'm like, hey, Joe, how about 3?
Yeah. Or 4. Yeah.
How about 3?
3's fine.
With some incentives.
I don't know why I'm like Joe Kelly's agent now.
I don't know either, but with some incentives.
I'm in.
If you spend this many days not on the IR.
Sure.
Like, I don't know how you can structure that. I'm sure you can structure almost anything, but you can earn more money. So if you're not hurt and you can play, you make more money. Right. But if you're hurt, this is the bottom line right here.
Otherwise, it's internal options for the Cards from a bullpen standpoint. It's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. If you got a question for us, our Sports Six-Pack is 314-399-9646. Again, 314-399-9646. Our Sports Six-Pack is next.
It is holiday season. What an unbelievable gift it would be for you to buy some accessories for your loved one or your brother or your cousin from Pure Performance. That's right. They've got everything from accessories for Jeeps to Broncos to SUVs. I've got a pickup truck. They've done a bunch of things on my truck. Absolutely love what they do. Their tires and their wheels are fantastic. And it's just the best spot to be. And there's so much available for you. All you have to do is visit the showroom. It's a 25,000 square foot facility located right off of Highway 70 in St. Peter's. Trust me, you're going to want to stop by there. And when you do, walk in and ask for Shelby. Tell Shelby that Jamie Rivers sent you in. She'll probably giggle first and foremost, but then she's going to have fun and pick out a bunch of accessories with you, point you in the right direction. No matter what it is you're looking for, they have you covered. And it's not just off-road and oversized tires. They've got normal, everyday tires and wheels for any car available. And the technicians are fantastic at what they do. Guarantee that when you drop your vehicle off and you pick it up, you're going to be blown away with how awesome it is. And that's over there at Pure Performance. So again, stop by the showroom. You'll love it. But if not, stop by the virtual showroom at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
It's 5 o'clock. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. It's the Fast Lane with Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we've got our Sports Six-Pack. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. Question 1, please.
Question number 1.
All right, from the 302, question for Rivers. The Blues are 0-8 when trailing after the first period. How do they overcome this? Clearly, pucks in nets, but that is not working.
Probably the best way to overcome it is to not trail after the first.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as simple as it's going to
Pretty
get.
straightforward. It's pretty straightforward, pretty blunt, pretty honest.
Honestly, I think
that's what you'd expect.
They need Anthony to get in there and say, hey, you need to score first.
You score first. We'll get Kyle Hebert over there to talk to the boys.
I've got over Jamie. If you want to open up the locker room, to me one time, I can get in there.
It's my job to open up the locker room. Yeah. Okay.
You're very important now.
No, I'm not, Anthony.
Yeah, you open it up. I'll get in there. I'll start talking about scoring, the importance of scoring first, and of course, clearing it.
Anthony, I don't know if Jamie has that kind of pull. I mean, he is getting off last when he's on the airplane.
No, not last.
JR is.
I get off the plane after the players.
Yeah, so that's a big deal. He's still a big deal down there.
And last night, I will say, I got off the plane before half the players did.
That sounds like you, honestly.
I'd had enough.
That sounds like you.
I just was like, they were taking their time.
I could see you sitting there.
I was like, nah, I'm good.
And you just saying, screw it, I'm just going to go out and get off this plane.
Sorry, boys, I put my time in.
I got more games played than most of those guys.
You do.
So we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
You're down on the ice.
I didn't slow them down at all. They're fine.
Nice.
Question number 2.
All right, from the 636. Let's say a superstar athlete is wanting to be wined and dined to come to St. Louis for whatever team. Where are you taking them for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then out for drinks? Let's say for the sake of science, it's Connor Bedard or Yamamoto.
Okay.
Jamie, I feel like you'd be better at this than I would.
Oh, really? Why do you say that, Anthony?
Because you have been to every place.
Been quite a few.
I do love the Hill for dinner. So
yeah, well, there's a lot of places. I'm pulling up this one because I always screw up.
I'm a big Favaz's fan.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with anything.
Incredible.
You can't go wrong with anything on the Hill for sure. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm starting with a brunch, and it's at Casa Don Alfonso at the Ritz-Carlton.
There you go.
It's unbelievable. I mean, the spread is fantastic. The food is great. The service is amazing. And, you know, a little mimosa out there, too. We're going to lighten things up. A little mimosa. Got this massive brunch that you can partake in. That's stop number 1. Maybe go to the Hill for a late lunch then.
Sure.
You know, because you want to make sure that there's room for dinner later, but dinner's going to carry into the nightlife a little bit. Because you want to, if you're whining and dining, like
sure,
really doing it up here, right?
Yep.
So I do a lunch maybe on the Hill. We'll go to your place, Favaz.
Thank you.
I want to show them everything down there, and this is what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
And then come nighttime, we're going into Clayton. We're going back into the Clayton area. So many great places. Tony's Steakhouse is awesome. Like, it depends on what level of free agent we're whining and dining, okay? If it's Ohtani, we're calling ahead. We're going to talk to my buddy at Tony's. We're going to get a nice table downstairs, but we're going to reserve a table upstairs, too, for post-dinner drinks. Upstairs got a little more action to it, some music, some things going on. And then, depending on the player's personal life, are they married? Are they single?
Yeah, good questions.
Who knows, right? If they're married, going back to the Ritz-Carlton for cocktails in the lobby bar is always a great thing. They got the band going. They're making great cocktails over there. It's an unbelievable time. If they're single, maybe we head over to Cafe Napoli and have a cocktail over there, because the atmosphere, the dinner crowd's kind of leaving.
Right.
And the after-dinner crowd's definitely coming in, and available people are there. The beautiful people are there, basically, you know? And, that's kind of your night.
There you go. What about
Right on, Jamie, right on.
There you go, Janet. She knows.
Yeah.
360 is not a bad spot, too.
No, 360 is good, but what it does is kind of takes you out of the area. Like, I like the Clayton area-ish because you got so many different places you can kind of
it's a good spot.
frequent. So if one area is not working, you've got others, you know?
I like it.
Louis Dumont is also a really good little spot. Little hole in the wall, unbelievable food, great atmosphere. You know, if you're to go out.
That a boy.
No offense to any of those places, but I don't know if this particular free agent signs because in nowhere in that itinerary was visiting the free zoo.
Oh, it was after the Hill. Okay. That's right. It's close proximity. I'm sorry I left that out, but after the Hill, you got a little bit of the pasta, the great Italian food. You go walk it off a little bit.
Walk around a little bit, absolutely.
Yeah.
Check in on the big cats.
Yeah, you call ahead, get them a little free tour behind the scenes a little bit because, you know, this is what we're doing. We're going to show them. This can't miss.
Especially if they're married or they got some kids.
For sure.
Hey,
Otani's calling right now. I can feel it.
Absolutely.
The free smells.
Yeah. Hey, kids.
That's in the Penguin
like
house.
penguins?
Yeah. Boy, they smell good.
They do.
Question number 3.
We were talking about Justin Fields earlier in Are You Sold? A follow-up question from the same texter from the 618. If Justin Fields isn't the guy, do you trust drafting Caleb Williams #1 overall?
No, that's the tough part. That's the tough part for the Bears. Because if they move on from Justin Fields, you're taking Caleb Williams. Is Caleb Williams a generational talent, or is he a generational talent with a lot of question marks because, you know, some of the off-fields, I don't even know if they're demands, but, you know, requirements, or I don't care that the kid cried after the one loss, but I do wonder if he's a bit of a front runner based on, you know, the one loss. I forgot who USC lost to at the end. Was it Washington? No, Washington was the game he cried. I don't know. There's another game where he didn't speak to the media afterwards. He was scheduled to. I wonder if things are going great. We see Caleb Williams a lot. When things aren't going his way, he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it's not a bad.
He's not the only quarterback that has done that.
It's not a bad comment by you. I had a lot of thoughts on the whole situation following Caleb Williams, like crying in his mom's arms, or what appeared to be, because we don't know for sure. Looked like it, but whatever. Some of these kids are under a tremendous amount of pressure at such a young age. The Heisman Trophy is such a massive cloud that looms over. So, you know, I look at it one of two ways. Either that, you know, I feel like, okay, that kid can't handle it, or, okay, that kid knows what it feels like. Let's see let's see where he goes from here.
Sure.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because everybody has that moment, Anthony.
Right, absolutely.
In their professional life, you have that moment when, like, fortunately, a lot of us can do it in the confines of our own home.
Yeah, it's not public. You're right.
You're sitting in your bedroom or your hotel room and you just break down. You call mom, dad, your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, like whatever it is, and you just have that moment. It's not on national TV as a Heisman Trophy kid.
And then have it picked apart and...
Right?
You're right.
But then how about the businessmen who fail and cry and go bankrupt and then friggin' boom, turn the corner and away they go and they're billionaires, but nobody talks about, that guy crumbled way back when. Yeah, he did. He learned what his rock bottom was and now look at him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the same or...
It's a fine line. It is a fine line. I can't help but think about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, you know, he wasn't in a spot where he cried and all that stuff, but he was benched. I mean, we're talking about a freshman quarterback at Alabama that led them to a national championship the year before, and he's benched a year later in the middle of the game. He goes into halftime. They're losing to Georgia. Jalen Hurts is benched for Tua. Tua goes in. He leads Alabama back. They get into overtime, and they wind up winning the game. The first player off the sidelines who had been rooting for Tua the entire time, first player was Jalen Hurts off the sideline into Tua. And then the kid stayed. He competed. He wanted to graduate from Alabama. He wanted that. So he stays, and he competes with Tua. And lo and behold, in the SEC championship game, Tua's a little banged up, struggling, and Jalen Hurts is the one to go into the SEC title game and win it for Bama and send them back to the title game or the playoffs. Then he transfers to Oklahoma because he still feels like, I'm a starter, I've got unfinished business. So he goes to, like, what do you do when things are pushed against you? You know, when you have failures, what do you do? How do you act? I think it's a fine line, Jamie, because you bring up the human element, and I think that's important. How do you respond? And I'm the biggest Jalen Hurts fan because of that. And I'm not saying I'll root against Caleb Williams or all that, but because he is he might be a once in a generational talent. But that is a good question about the Bears. I don't know.
Question number 4.
I know he can't throw, though. Consistently.
From 314, who has the better top prospects in the pipeline for 2024-2025? Is it the Blues or is it the Cards?
Ooh. Well, the Blues have quite a few prospects right now that are notable.
I think it's the Blues because the Cardinals' top prospects are up.
Are they though? Those pitching prospects that they have, like McGreevy, Graceffo, those guys are still prospects, and all the arms they picked up at the deadline.
Yeah. But if I'm arguing for the Cardinals, I've lost Walker, I lost Mason Wynn, I lost Gorman. Those guys are already up. I can't count them as prospects.
You're right.
And I think there's a larger gap between the next guy for the Cardinals and the next guy for the Blues.
And we don't really know when those players are going to make an impact on the team. I think it's the Blues too.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like they will need some of those prospects to show up next season.
Just because we're talking about the Blues, Brandon Kiley, we were talking about his comments from earlier today on his show. We played them. Kiley's, he didn't ask me to do this. I'm just doing this on my own. But, he texted me, said, hey, missed the segment earlier just to clear up a few things because I think it was lost in the cut. One, they've been better than I expected, the Blues. And this is in reference to the Blues, maybe not, you're not invested in them. You don't feel invested right now into this specific team. So they've been better than I expected. That's why I don't understand why I feel this way. I feel this year the way many did about the Cards in the 2017-22 malaise. They just aren't interesting. Lack of stars, lack of long-term talent, lack of personality. I want to buy into this team, but right now I don't feel compelled to. I think that's
reasonable.
I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I think it also plays into what we talked about what else is on right now.
But I also feel like it's personal preference too,
sure.
Right?
Yeah. And stylistically, yeah.
And it doesn't matter. Like, this isn't like singling out BK. It's just anybody who's watching the Blues. If you're a fan that expects certain things and you're not seeing them, or you're not compelled by this certain player or whatever's going on, like, it's everybody sees something different, and likes something different. So it depends on who you are and what you're looking for, and whether you're going to be invested, so to say, or compelled by what's going on.
Right.
So I get it.
Question number 5.
From the 217, if I come to the podcast tonight, what bourbon cocktail do you recommend? And is Donnie buying with his new contract?
Well, of course, Donnie's buying.
Yeah, he's got
to. I mean, that's a given. And what cocktail? So here's the way I like my favorite bourbon cocktail, apart from it just being straight up, is the old fashioned. Now, when I order the old fashioned, I tell them go light on the syrup.
So it's not too sugary.
Yeah.
Well, bourbon and whiskey they've got sugar.
And some more so than others, depending on the barrel, depending on whatever that is. But when I drink a cocktail, I want it to feel like I'm drinking an adult cocktail. I don't need a kiddie cocktail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need a Shirley Temple in my hands that I'm paying $20 for, and I'm like, what is this?
A margarita.
Yeah. Well, I'm okay with the margarita. But so I order the old fashioned. I tell them light on the syrup, and that way you get a little bite of the bourbon too. You still get a little bit of the sweetness. You're like, oh yeah, I feel like a big boy now.
I like that combo where it's a little sweet at first, and then it or there's a little bit of a burn, and then there's a sweet finish. There's a lot of good whiskeys.
I'm with you.
Thanks, Jamie. I was talking about the drinks.
Question number 6.
All right, final question for you two from the 314. Would the addition of Tyler Glasnow make the Cards a clear division favorite regardless of what the Cubs do in this offseason?
No, not no, because I don't know what the Cubs are going to do. I understand in the spirit of the question, I think you'd say yeah, because they've made the most moves. But if the Cubs bring in Yamamoto or they bring in Shohei Ohtani, you're telling me the Cubs wouldn't be the clear favorites? Or if they bring back Bellinger and also add Shohei or something, they would be the favorites.
Of course.
But adding Glasnow certainly would give the Cardinals the leg up for the time being. We have Prove Me Wrong in 15 minutes. So get your Prove Me Wrongs into 314-399-9646. Again, Prove Me Wrong statements. That's where you throw out a statement and Jamie and I have to prove you wrong in the court of law, in Marshy's court of law. So Prove Me Wrong statements, 314-399-9646. You got 15 minutes. We'll do Prove Me Wrong at the bottom of the hour. What we have coming up next is NFL. Who do you trust more? And these are just trap questions, I think, from Marsh. That's next on 101 ESPN.
Ooh, Anthony, it's getting colder outside, but FanDuel is staying hot.
Yeah, it is.
America's #1 sportsbook continues to just give us all great promotions. And new customers right now get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. So all that means is you pick a team to win the game. You don't worry about the spread.
Like the Jets.
Yeah, no, maybe not the Jets. Maybe a for sure bet, Anthony, because if you do that, you get $150.
Yeah. So no, the better play would be like the Dolphins over the Commanders, or the Cowboys over the Seahawks tomorrow night, or if you want to have something a little bit even more guaranteed, the Jaguars on Monday night against the Bengals, who are going uphill now without Joe Burrow. It's up to you how you want to do it. You don't have to worry about the spread, Jamie. You don't have to worry about cashing in on a point spread. It's just a money line play. So at FanDuel, if you bet the $5, you get the $150 back in bonus bets if your team wins. Then you can take that money and then you can play your spreads, your player props, your same game parlays. You can dabble in some of the future markets. It's up to you. It's all available at FanDuel, but you got to sign up.
You can do it all over at FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com/fast and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/fast. 21 and over in President, Illinois. First online real money wager. Only $5 pregame money line wager required. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issues non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Don't forget to get your Prove Me Wrongs in at 314-399-9646. We'll do that in about 10 minutes. NFL, who do you trust more? So this is Marsh throwing together some teams, and we have to discuss who we trust more, Jamie.
Okay.
This could be dangerous. What do you got, Marsh?
All right, let's start off the first two teams. Who do you have more trust in, Jacksonville or Miami?
Oh, wow. I mean, that's a perfect one right out of the gates. I'm gonna go with Miami. We know what they are offensively. Mike McDaniel knows what they are offensively. He knows that with that offensive line, Tua's it's really a 3-step or 5-step drop game. Tyreek Hill's explosive. Jalen Waddle, outstanding compliment. You know, they're running the ball well with Raheem Mostert, and they got Devon Achane back, at least for a second there before he got re-injured. But I imagine he'll be ready to go again. And the defense has improved.
Yeah.
So I think from a trustworthy standpoint, I feel like I know the Dolphins more than I know the Jags, although I do like the Jaguars. I've got them, I think, 7th in my Stalter Stackup. I like the talent there, but they haven't been as consistent as they were in the second half last year.
For me, it's the Dolphins. When I look at the seasons, everybody likes to harp about how the Dolphins, they haven't beat anybody really that good, right?
Yeah.
Neither the Jaguars. The Jaguars have beat the Bills. That's the biggest win on their slate. Like, they beat the Texans. I know the Texans have been punching up this year.
Mm-hmm. That's a divisional game. They already split because they lost one, too.
But it's fine. Like,
yeah.
it's a fine win. It's not like it's a massive win.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Colts. They beat the Falcons. No offense, Anthony.
Yeah, it's the first place Falcons. You put some respect on that.
They don't have any, epic wins this year. So that puts them in the same category-ish with the Dolphins. And then when I look at the rosters, the Dolphins for me are better.
Agreed.
Next two teams, Buffalo or Houston?
Wow. I'm still, Anthony, I'll go first. I'm still going to side with the Bills on this one. I still think that there's more there. Give me, next year, come and talk to me, and it might be the Texans because they're right there. And I know their record is 6-5, and the Bills are 6-6 right now. But I just don't think the Texans are a better team than the Bills right now. I still think they're better.
Who do you trust, though?
If I have to put my money on it in a game, if they're playing each other.
If they're playing each other.
I'm betting on the Bills.
And it's a spread. I wonder what the spread would be in that game.
Well, no, you didn't. That question doesn't have a spread attached to it. Who do you trust more? Well, with the odds of minus 3.7 that you trust them more. No. Who do you trust more? So put them head-to-head then, Anthony.
You can yell at me all you want.
I'm not yelling.
My statement stands, Jamie. Who do you trust more to cash that in? Let's say the Bills are laying, 4.5 points.
Who the hell would give them 4.5 points right now over the Texans?
I'm just saying.
Honestly, I feel the Texans would probably be favored in Vegas because their record's better.
That's why I asked what the spread would be.
Who cares? Straight up. Money line. Bet $5, get 150 back at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book.
FanDuel.com/fast. I'm going to go with Houston.
Of course you are.
I'm going to go with Houston on this one. C.J. Stroud is still playing out his mind, although I thought he looked more like a rookie last week than he has in previous weeks. So I'm going to go with Houston. Josh Allen, I thought he played phenomenal in Philadelphia. He also did throw an interception that turned the complete game around for the Eagles.
Oh, cherry pick.
He's a turnover machine, Jamie. Turnover. He's Jared Goff the last 2 weeks, only he's done it. He's done it since week 1 of his rookie year. So give me the Texans.
All right, next two teams, Denver or the Los Angeles Chargers?
Oh, Denver. 100%.
Absolutely.
Which is crazy. It's crazy to think that, but Denver has turned. Sean Payton knows what he has. It took him a little while. It took him about a month and a half. But he has figured it out. He knows exactly what he has and what he doesn't have, quite frankly. The Chargers, I feel like, are that team that they're quite frankly, they're the least trustworthy team of the ones that aren't the Panthers.
You offer me any kind of a bet with the Chargers attached to it, I'm declining. Because I don't know what they are. You offer me a bet that, A, they'll lose. They might blow the doors off of somebody. You offer me one that they're going to win. They might get killed. I'm out.
No, thank you.
I don't trust them at all.
Yeah, give me the Broncos.
Next two teams, who do you have more trust in, Dallas or Detroit?
Wow. Comes down to coaching for me. Lions, all the way.
Mike McCarthy gets no respect.
Why should he? The hell has he ever done?
What a Super Bowl.
Apart from that.
I love how you did that and then you looked away.
I know. It only works if people on YouTube are watching. Everyone's like, that River's an idiot.
This is the show that needs the YouTube.
It does.
Who do I trust more, Dallas or Detroit? Oh, boy. I'm going to cherry pick. I'm going to go Dallas right now because Jared Goff has been terrible the last 2 weeks. And that defense for Detroit is getting steadily worse, too. So give me Dallas. Dallas hasn't beaten anybody.
Ever since they kicked you off the bandwagon. Look at you spiteful son of a...
Jamie, you know this about me, though.
I know.
This is one of the only consistent aspects about me. So give me the Cowboys.
No,
Dak Prescott's playing great.
There's way more.
Next two teams.
Give me the boys.
New Orleans or the Los Angeles Rams.
I trust the Rams more. If they have Matthew Stafford, I at least know that I would have a shot. The Saints are... I mean, was that not a Derek Carr game on Sunday? Was that not a Derek Carr game?
Take a look at their season.
Over 300 yards passing. If you just looked at the box score, these are the people that just look at box scores will look at Derek Carr and tell you dead in the face and have conviction behind it that Derek Carr is a really good quarterback. He's not. He stacks up yards. He stacks up, decent numbers. And then you look at it, and they settled for 5 field goals in Atlanta. 300 yards passing. Kept hitting Chris Olave, and the moment they got in the red zone, dude can't play. That's Derek Carr. He's not worth whatever they're paying him. I'd rather have, this is... At the start of the year, maybe people would knock me for it. I don't know if they do now. I'd rather have Kirk Cousins.
Hey!
I would. Kirk can put some hollow numbers in there, too, but he'll win.
Even with a torn Achilles?
Yes. No. No. But I don't trust the Saints at all.
Well, Anthony, you mentioned the Vikings, these last two teams. Seattle or Minnesota? Which NFL team do you trust more?
Minnesota. Absolutely. Defense is what's the other team? I was going to say Minnesota.
Seattle.
No matter what? Oh yeah, Seattle. I've called Seattle smoke and mirrors from week 1. I'm not going to back down on that. And even though Joshua Dobbs threw 4 interceptions on Monday night, not all his fault. There were some tips and stuff in there. He's still one of the greatest quarterbacks known to man. And this Minnesota Vikings team, after the bye, they're going to figure things out. Probably going to win out. Skull, baby.
Yeah, I'll go with the Vikings. I'm there with you.
Here's all you need to know about Seattle. Dallas, right? They haven't beaten anybody yet this year. There's been no quality wins, to use a college football term, on Dallas's resume. They're an 8.5-point favorite against Seattle tomorrow night. 8.5 against a Seattle team that's 6-5 and still firmly in the wild card race. That everybody thinks Seattle's pretty good. 8.5-point underdog against Dallas. That should tell you everything you know about the old Seahawks. And the Vikings and Marsh's team probably going to the Super Bowl.
Oh, boy.
Prove me wrong next on 101 ESPN.
I'd fight him. All right. Are you looking to sell your home right now, but maybe you have a lot of questions regarding the correct sales price, maybe the fact that it's the holidays and you're not sure about the market right now? Don't worry about trying to figure that out by yourself. Call Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. And here's a couple reasons why, as Gloria over the years has come up with several different options for her sellers. The one I love the most is the guaranteed sales. That's where Gloria sits down with the seller and agrees upon a sale price. And then Gloria goes and sells your home for that price, or she'll buy it herself. And she guarantees all that in handwriting. And why is she so confident that she's going to guarantee you a sale? Well, because she's got thousands of ready buyers in her exclusive database. That drives a lot more traffic to your listing, hopefully multiple offers. At the end of the day, more money for you. So please, without hesitation, give Gloria Lou a call. Tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. That number is 314-325-6888. Again, that's 314-325-6888, or you can visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions do apply. Gloria and the seller must agree on the price and possession date.
ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues lost last night to the Minnesota Wild by a final score of 3-1. They'll be back in action tomorrow night, taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Speaking of the Blues, we talked with Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, as well as Blues head coach Craig Berube. If you missed those interviews or anything from today's show, make sure you go go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Coming up next, we have Prove Me Wrong. So if you have a statement that you want Anthony or Jamie to prove wrong, make sure you send it our way to the Air Comfort Service text line, 314-399-9646, or you can check us out in the Air Alliance Team YouTube chat. Send us your Prove Me Wrong. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center Update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, the independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
You heard Marshy. Time for Prove Me Wrong. This is where Jamie and I enter Marsh's courtroom, and you have an opportunity to state your case. Jamie and I will attempt to prove you wrong. Here we go.
All right.
By the way, Dan and I got 0. We scored a 0 last week because I don't think
0.0.
I don't think our guy Danny Mac got the concept nor cared.
I could totally see that.
He kept arguing
against
the point.
Yeah.
Or arguing for the point.
For the point. Yeah.
Oh, Dan.
All right, we'll start off with a fun one here from John Fozalok, who usually sends us mic drops. Today, he texted us the Air Comfort Service text line.
Wow.
John Fozalok, prove me wrong. There's no need for a winter coat regardless of the temp. When you have on an undershirt, a long-sleeve button-down dress shirt, and a cashmere sweater vest, and a sports coat with a cute scarf for the neck.
Okay, let me tell you something. You obviously haven't been to Winnipeg in Manitoba anytime here recently, or Calgary, where there was a foot of snow on the ground. Or how about
Siberia?
Well, Siberia is certainly a great example, Anthony. How about 8 degrees is what I woke up to yesterday in St. Paul, Minnesota. I tried to attack said situation with dress coat on and foofy little scarf and whatnot. I quickly returned to my hotel room to get my overcoat and a hat, and I was like, no way I'm going out there without this. So, yeah, you are 100% wrong. You absolutely have to prepare for the elements. It's not the look. It's being effective when it's that cold.
Coming from someone who went to school in North Dakota, which is not too far away from Winnipeg, I will have to agree with that. For the simple fact that the school that I attended had tunnels to go to class because of how cold it was.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. No DAC, Anthony. That's what they call it. No DAC. Yeah.
From the 314, prove me wrong.
Correct.
Okay.
No, I know. I certainly don't. From the 314, prove me wrong. Joe Burrow is overrated. He's missed a vast majority of 2 out of 4 seasons.
You mean the Joe Burrow that got the Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals, to the Super Bowl and multiple AFC championship games? That Joe Burrow. The one that took the Bengals, one of the most downtrodden teams in the history of the NFL. He got that team to multiple AFC championship games and nearly won the Super Bowl. That Burrow. Come on, man. Yes, he's been hurt. One wasn't his fault. His offensive line should have been taken to jail his rookie year for the amount of abuse that they levied against Joe Burrow his rookie year when he tore his knee. And then this past season, fluke injury. It's not like he's been dealing with the same injury. He's just, plus he gutted out the calf injury earlier this year. Just stop it with your overrated. How's Jake Browning look thus far? Same team, right? Same team, Jake Browning. Not too good. I rest my case.
Enough said. From the...
Well done, Your Honor.
Yeah. Well, you hold on now. You don't want to,
Don't be buttering
don't
him
be
up too
bribing
soon
me
here.
now. From the 618. Of the major professional sports, there is not a player that has dominated their sport as much as Wayne Gretzky has dominated hockey. Prove me wrong.
Okay. Let's think about this.
This might be the toughest one we've ever done.
Last time I checked, there was a golfer named Tiger Woods that dominated his sport to the tune of 82 PGA Tour championships, tied for first all time. 41 victories in the European Tour, third all time. Masters tournaments, not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 Masters tournaments for Tiger. Not one, not two, not three, but 4 PGA championships, 3 U.S. Opens, 3 Open championships, 15 victories, majors. We're talking about majors. World Golf Hall of Fame, 2021. Absolute dominance from Tiger Woods for decades. This is somebody that was bred to play golf, Jamie. Eldrick, Tiger Woods dominated his sport just as much, if not more, than Wayne Gretzky. Wow. Till he took the iron off his dome. That was different, though. It was a different issue.
Slightly.
Man, this is tough. I mean, you have Wayne Gretzky, who holds records that will most likely not be broken. Maybe Ovechkin does it. He probably will.
Probably won't. Have you seen him lately?
That's fair. Tiger Woods did play in the new age of golf.
Yeah.
Gretzky did not play in this new age of hockey.
Very true.
Very tough. Guys, I think it's a hung jury.
Thank you.
I think it's a hung jury.
You're not a part of the jury.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, you will.
I think it's a hung jury.
I'm not a part of the jury either. Jamie.
From the
you really got yourself on that one, didn't you? You're over there laughing. Really got yourself, didn't you, Jamie? You really liked that one.
No, it's out for a little bit. It's the small things, Anthony, you know?
From the 618, prove me wrong, but for all Cards fans, it would be kind of fun seeing Shohei Ohtani in a Cubs uniform. Good for the rivalry.
No. It would not be fun at all because I love the birds on the bat and I don't care. I want the deck stacked in my favor. I don't want to have to be dealing with a guy that hits home runs every third at bat. I don't want to deal with a guy that shoves it up the you-know-what every 5 days when he gets the ball on the bump. No, it's not good for the rivalry at all. In fact, it makes me more angry than anything at all. No, it's not good. Shohei Ohtani, sign somewhere else. L.A., New York. Stay out of the Midwest. It's not good for any rivalry. Sucks because they'll probably be way better then.
I think it would be good for the rivalry, but rivalries are only good if both teams are winning. And if Shohei Ohtani is on the Cubs, I do not see the Cardinals winning.
That's my point.
Compared to maybe how they were in years prior. So I agree with Jamie.
Yes.
There we go. All right. Does that do it, or do you want to do one more, Marsh? Up to you. You taking on one more case today, or no?
I think we'll do one more real quick.
Right.
From the 314, prove me wrong. Jordan Montgomery's increased success in Texas was due to the help of Mike Maddox, similar to when he came over from New York.
Jamie, you got to go, right? You got to get to
I got to pack my stuff.
Yeah. Jamie's got, you know what? I shouldn't have.
Yeah, we'll get to this.
We'll get to that.
It's going to be a carryover.
Yeah. Jamie.
Next week, next month.
Yeah, sure. Jamie's at Twin Peaks in Maplewood
right
tonight.
now.
Yeah,
Well,
you got to go.
15 minutes.
With Donnie, Last Minute Blues podcast.
I got to go, guys. Sorry. Great question, though.
Great question.
Court is dismissed.
We'll certainly get to that at some point in the near future. Yeah. Jamie, we'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Thank you. See
All
you guys.
right. We'll wrap up the show next on 101 ESPN.
Air Comfort Service.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can download the podcast at 101ESPN.com or your 101 ESPN mobile app. Mobile app is 100% free. Make sure you're downloading it. And download our podcast, all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Had Jamie back for the full show in studio today. Always love seeing him in the studio. We talked about the Blues, loss to the Wilds. Talked about Sonny Gray. What does it mean that his contract was backloaded? Played Are You Sold? Talked about the college football playoff. And I outlined what I think is going to happen this weekend. Jamie tossed in his upset pick for this weekend. I did the same. Marsh kind of got on the same board with us, at least one of us. We played who do you trust more out of certain NFL teams, and played a very spirited prove me wrong as well. Oh, and also talked about the Blues and why some people are having a hard time kind of buying completely into the Blues this season, at least to this point. Marsh, what do we got for criticisms and compliments?
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that BK texted you wanting to clear some things up. We got a text from the 636. The fact that BK is texting about the show after his segment is over shows how much of a sports fan he is, and you all are. Love that.
Yeah, BK will listen. I feel like he listens to in one shape or form, he listens to the entire station. I don't know if it's live all the time or he goes back and listens to the podcast, but absolutely. Yeah, we're sports nuts.
We got a text from Mike, who was called out by Kyle after Kyle's Gauntlet win today.
Uh-oh.
Kyle called him out, and Mike texted in, "Hey, Kyle, me versus you in studio. Let's go. Make it happen, Marsh."
Wow. We talked about it. We might do that.
Mm-hmm.
If we have one more contestant tomorrow in the second round.
Yes.
If Kyle and Mike both advance to like a sudden death, maybe we'll have both of you guys in. And you guys just play each other for the championship. Because at that point, you guys would have gotten through all of us. So no sense in forcing you guys to play us again. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
On the YouTube chat, Jamie was active in the YouTube chat today, and someone called out Ribs, taking shots at Jamie, and Jamie clapped back at him. Dan had Rivers back. He said another solid check from Rivers. And then Chris chimed in and said he still got it.
Jamie? Absolutely. Yeah, don't mess around with Jamie. Especially going to check you into the wall.
Man, I wonder what that would feel like. Because obviously me and you didn't play.
No.
Any professional sport whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But just taking a hit, whether that's football or hockey at full speed, professional level.
Yeah, no. I'm good.
Do you remember that show called
F41? I'm good.
Joe's or Pros versus Joe's or something?
I don't remember Pros versus Joe, but I do remember the American Gladiators, like the original American Gladiators, which they did a documentary on.
I watched it.
On Netflix.
It was good.
I kind of grew up with a lot of those, the original cast.
Yeah.
I used to love that show. Having no idea, obviously, what they all went through, not being paid that much. I never thought about them being beat up, too, because you think, they're all in phenomenal shape, maybe a little chemically enhanced shape, but
maybe
they were all jacked. I never thought about them taking a physical beating because they would tape like 6 shows in one day.
Right. Wait, did they? Oh, yeah.
At one point they said they would tape, maybe it wasn't 6, but they'd tape like
more than
3
one
shows in one day. Yeah, so they would just over and over and over again. Anyways, but I remember that.
Speaking of documentaries, I just watched Bye Bye Barry.
The Barry Sanders one? I haven't seen it yet. It's really good.
Oh, you should watch it.
Yeah.
It's really good. Like, do you know the reason why he left? Or is that still kind of fuzzy for you?
For me, it was because he was just tired of losing.
Yeah, they kind of get into that in the documentary. I thought it was interesting, especially for me being someone who was not a part of that era. I never knew or watched Barry Sanders play, so I didn't really know what he was about, but I always knew who he was.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at the highlights that are in the doc, this guy was insane. I don't know how he could stop on a dime and change direction.
Yeah.
And the fact that he played on the Lions, I feel so bad for the guy.
He was unbelievable.
Meanwhile, Emmitt Smith is winning Super Bowls in Dallas.
Behind that O-line. Yeah. I don't want to do the whole, you get back in my day thing.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders is one of those players, though, that just transcends He could play now.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I would love if he played right now.
In his prime, Barry Sanders now. He would have been an absolute superstar and just quiet, unassuming, as I'm sure the documentary gets into.
Yeah.
But he was remarkable.
Super humble dude.
I can't even compare anybody to him right now. That's how unique he was.
The way, I'm telling you, like, from the highlights, my first time really seeing him play, I was like, oh my goodness, this guy must have been electric to watch back in the day.
Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. I love watching Barry Sanders. All right, that'll do it for us here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We've got, I believe, instant replay that's coming up tonight. Maybe a Blues instant replay show from 6 to 7. That's right, Blues instant replay. And if you're heading down to see Donnie and Jamie, hope you have a great time. We'll be back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. For Andrew Marsh and Jamie Rivers, I'm Anthony Stalter. See ya.